swear to God, I will hold you my
Douglas snipes him, gets the big shutdown. Zach's gonna go down as well, and with only the support left up, Sin, they've done it. They fought hard for this game. Now take down AV in game 1. Triple is chasing him down, FBI's gone, and it's an easy team fight for AV. They bounce back, they'll be confident in this series now, knowing it's a very even matchup against Sin. Game 2 goes to AV, the best of 5 series is tied up 1-1. FBI has to do the impossible! Rogue and FBI trying to cut this one out. Blinky still wants it. Sybil throws out the ultimate again. Second Nexus turret falls, they turn it around. That's gonna be the ace, and AV turn around game number 3. Big knockoff from Jamie. Look at Douglas! Where did Blinky go? He's missing! Suddenly the rest of the team's gonna fall apart as well. Series goes down. FBI takes down the turret as well. That's an ace from Sid. We're going to game number 5. Just like Split 1, they will take on the Chiefs tomorrow, and in traditional Cinderella fashion, they took it all the way to game 5.
Hello and welcome to this. It is day 2 of our gauntlet for the OPL. My name is Michael Hingersing and I'm joined here by Calvin Vicarious Lee and also Bradley T-Gun Seymour. How are you both doing? You well? Calvin, you've just, congratulations, you registered back in the OPL. How you feeling?
Thank you very much. Really excited.
Yes.
The game 3 is very clutch. If, you know, I don't want to go through that again. That was just too close for me to handle.
Too many pentakills. And Tegan, how you feeling? Backing up after a big 5-game series yesterday?
Yeah, not as drained as the Sin players, but that was still exhausting for me, and I'm
Absolutely.
hoping we go to 5 again today.
Well, let's take a look at the gauntlet from yesterday and look through to the rest of the finals gauntlet. Sin, too good for AV, 3-2 yesterday. They will face Chiefs today. The winner of that will go on to face Legacy tomorrow, and then the winner of that will take on Direwolves next Saturday in the grand final. But let's talk about Sin versus Chiefs, because they are the teams playing today. And look, yesterday we saw Dockler pop off. Today, last night Swiper said, look, I'm not going to let that happen tomorrow. I want to talk about this Chiefs lineup, because they are the third finishing team for this split. And they do not want to lose. This is a redemption split for them, isn't it?
They're not third yet.
Exactly. Finishing their regulars. But let's take a look at their lineup, shall we? Their top laner is Swiper. Their jungler is Spooks. Swiffer is their mid laner. Their AD carry is Raze. And Ejim is their support player. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. There'll be some skins that are up for grabs today. Both mid and support have a friendly wager on some little skins that have been playing. The winner of this will walk away with the Zed Shockwave skin and also Cosmic Dawn Rakan, which I think is the only Rakan skin.
Does that mean that they have to buy it for the other person, or they just can't use it themselves?
No, it's you can't have it anymore. That's done.
I wouldn't make that bet.
You wouldn't.
It's not worth it.
You need every skin.
I'm a skin fanatic.
Unless if you're a faker.
Yeah.
Then you just
No,
classic skin.
I feel like Ejim is really silly for me. We all know Ejim loves skins.
He does. Why would you take that risk?
Silly.
Well, let's take a look at the Sin lineup then, because these guys will be facing off against the Chiefs today. And go through them, shall we? We saw him pop off yesterday on Jax. Let's see if he can do it again today. Their top laner is Dokla. Their jungler and social media king is Juves. Their mid laner, the Talia master, is Ryoma, also known as Tommy. FBI is their AD carry, and Rogue is their support player. And Vicarious, you watched the series yesterday. Did you see any weaknesses in Sin's gameplay?
Well, so Sin Gaming, they've shown a pretty solid early game. They've always made their proactive play into the mid game, 20 to 25 minute marks, and then when you look at I think 2 to 3 of their games. They tend to throw around the 30-minute mark.
Yeah. That's what happened in game 2 and 3 yesterday, certainly.
Outsmarted.
He did get outsmarted, but I'm still not going to say it because I don't want to anger Jews.
No.
All right? It's not someone I want to be at his bad side.
No.
So leave that one alone.
I mean, and then, you know, looking at this series, comparing this to Chiefs, kind of having a weaker early game.
We've seen
recently.
that.
We've seen that.
We saw Regicide were able to take some advantages off them earlier on in the split. They also had some weak early games versus Abyss. But in this specific matchup, I mean, we saw Sin yesterday. They priority picked their support 4 times out of the 5 games yesterday. That's their first pick. Vicarious, are we going to see that same kind of priority put on bot lane today?
Probably, because, I mean, look, Raze and EJ are both Kalista, Thresh, Rakan sort of players. Same as FBI and Rogue. So FBI plays Kalista, plays Xayah. Rogue, obviously known for his Thresh. And first picking bot lane, why not? It doesn't reveal much, right?
It reveals a bit though. Like if you Thresh, not so much. Thresh is probably one of the best early picks because it fits into everything. But if you early pick Rakan, the opponent takes away Xayah, so it does sort of lead into the draft. Same thing with taking away something like Braum or hell, Blitzcrank. I'd love to see that. Probably won't happen. But that's just how drafts go. Even in, for example, top lane, because Doka was so effective yesterday with counterpick, we need to think about, do they save counterpick for their top lane? Do they save it for mid lane? How do they decide which side they want or what they place priority on?
Well, talk about the counter picks though. Chiefs have chosen red side.
So they're going to get counterpick. They can let Dokla pick his top laner, and then they can pick counterpick for Swiper, or they could save it for Swiffer if they want to do the counterpick mid lane.
That's right. And I mean, Chiefs lately they have been trying to get Swiper onto Gnar as a counterpick though. But I mean, when coming to this series, we're not too sure if Sin will ban out, say, Gnar or Renekton, the lane bullies, and how that will affect Chiefs' draft.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like, you only have so many bans. We've already said they're going to prioritize Kalista, so maybe they ban that. Then they have to deal with maybe some niche picks in mid, because if they're kind of picking top lane, they obviously have to pick a safe mid early. It comes down to how many bans are they willing to throw to make sure they get that top counter pick, or do they just leave it all open and hopefully Swiper has a deep enough champion pool that he plays anything?
All right, well, with bearing all that in mind, let's get your guys' predictions as we go into this round 2 of the Gauntlet. Vicarious, who's going to win this one? Can Sin take it off Chiefs?
Okay, this is my theory, all right? If this series goes to game 5, it's Sin. But I am going to say 3-1 to Chiefs.
Ooh, okay. So Chiefs will only drop 1 game in the first 4, but if it goes to 5 games, Sin will take it. Tegan, what are your thoughts?
I'm going to go 3-2 Chiefs. I know it's a theory, but it's a theory. It's unproven. It's not fact. All right? Sin lost to Legacy in a 5-game series. They've done it before. They're not infallible. And I feel that Chiefs, sure, they didn't beat them in the regular split. They've struggled a little bit, but they've looked pretty strong coming into the finals week. And hopefully with Coach Jish back, they'll be able to take it away.
All right. Well, if you're watching at home, tweet at us with who you think should win and who you're showing your support for. Hashtag Sinwarn or hashtag ChiefWin. Please do let us know also on Twitter at the hashtag IamOPL, or pop off in Twitch chat. We'll be putting out some of your tweets up on broadcast throughout the night. But for now, earlier this week, we spoke to the Chiefs about their redemption split. Let's see what they had to say.
I think Chiefs, as like a team, we've always struggled in Super Weeks. Going into the Gauntlet, I think it's an opportunity for us to bounce back, and I think that that's something that we are all looking forward to doing.
We haven't been playing at our peak, which is like the most disappointing thing. We like struggled against Abyss. Against Regicide, we had like a really weak early game, first game. So there just always seems to be, when we get on stage, like something seems to go wrong that we have to like claw our way back from.
Looking to Gauntlet, we're not going to underestimate any opponent, which we may have done in the past. So, you know, we'll treat Sin with respect, and we'll be ready for them.
Preparing for Sin will probably be like our priority, because we don't want to look forward and we don't want to look at like Legacy. Like Legacy's another beast, but I think Sin is like the omen that we had last split that really took it from us. So we would definitely want revenge from them, and then like we'd move forward after that.
You've mentioned that there were clear-cut 3 best teams at the moment, and I don't think that he should be that harsh on himself. I think that he's definitely in contention for like being on one of the 3 place teams. He just needs to show it.
I would view this split as the redemption split for us. Like when we lose, we aren't sore losers. Like we actually take it really well and we just work harder, and that's what we've been doing this split. I can promise that like I will play like the best of my ability in Gauntlet, and so will my team.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. About to get into the first match between the Chiefs taking on Sin. I'm Matthew Stewart. Joining me is Jake Spontiberian. Last time these two teams faced off against one another. Forced off against one another, apparently. Faced off against one another. Chiefs lost their first best-of-5 series ever domestically.
Yeah, they certainly did. Last Gauntlet was an absolute disaster for this Chiefs lineup, Fish, to put it bluntly. That man on your screen had a very good best-of-5, and we'll see whether they're able to replicate some of it, because Swiffer was the person that in big games dragged the Chiefs over the line. Think about to his classic TF Cassidy games when he's playing Oriana and Aegon was on Alistar versus Legacy and able to hit these big 5-man shockwaves. We haven't seen them lately, and they've really gone a little bit missing through that mid lane, and that man on your screen has a very bad mustache at the moment and also needs to play some better League of Legends.
He certainly does. My goodness. He needs to shave and do a much better job in mid lane. Go up against Ryoma, as you mentioned. He's had a really good performance so far this split. Struggled a little bit against Triple yesterday, but stepped up in the games that Sin actually won.
Yep. I think that the big thing for Ryoma is he got better as this series went on yesterday. Started very, very slowly, was slow out of the gate. Rogue didn't have the best performance either, in my opinion. He and FBI were playing a lot of the games reactively as opposed to proactively. Against someone like Aegon, that's not going to be able to happen. Thumbs down for some reason. Aegon also doing the T-gun flex before the game. A little bit different from Aegon, the T-gun flex. It wasn't as impressive, but that's all right. He still hits the gym. He tries to still get out and about. Red hair color coming back through. So I'll be interested to see where priority on the map lies. Chiefs have already said that they view Swiper as one of their carries now. He's no longer a brick in the top lane, but Dokla showed that he is a legitimate contender for most improved player.
Which is really scary because Sin last split won this specified series through flares in the top lane. Him and Jews were able to work together to take down Swiper, snowball a lead, and win through that side of the map. Now that Dokla is a serious threat, Swiper has to be ready to match up against him.
Certainly does, but Big Swips has had some good games, solo killing Talion and Kled a couple of times, also had some big Gnar performances. We know that if they go tank versus tank, he would love to bring out the Armored Titan up there in the top lane in something like the Galio. Still plays a fair amount of it. He does, but we'll see exactly what lends itself to, because all of this is going to come down to how they draft. Is it a bottom lane priority? Does Rakan, Thresh, as well as Morgana get taken off the board, as we've seen so many times? Then all of a sudden they can play whatever they want top lane. Do you hit this man on your screen? Do you get rid of the tanky junglers and see if Spooks can take it to him in a skill matchup? Because really, both of these teams have weapons everywhere that they can utilize to win a best-of-5, and I think we will see adaptations as this series goes on, Fish.
And this man on your screen, Jubes, no social media video today. I remember running into him last split before he went up against the Chiefs. You know, he just put out his own video about going into that matchup, and he literally said to me, I want to win this game so I can make a video about Legacy tomorrow, because I've got a banger video coming out, and it was a great one. Unfortunately, they were not able to take down Legacy, but that win gave Sin the opportunity to represent Oceania internationally.
It certainly did, and since the Rift Rivals, Sin have continued to explode as a team. They were able to take the win off the Chiefs as well as Legacy. They went 2-1 versus the Direwolves, unfortunately losing out on that series. But otherwise, they've looked pretty unfallible. That guy on your screen, FBI, has really started to grow as a player.
Yes.
Brand new into the OPL this year, probably in contention for Rookie of the Year, and really has shown that he can play everything from utility to hard carrying champions.
He certainly has. I mean, he played all the different roles yesterday. When he needed to step back into utility, he was able to do so. The one thing we've questioned about FBI throughout the split has been his questionable positioning in crucial games. Normally he positions well. Normally he's a big game player. But there have been a couple of big misplays. Unlike this guy on your screen, Raze has had a great split.
You say that, and then he jumped on Fantix's head.
That's true.
Last week, and probably cost the Chiefs game 1, although he single-handedly brought them back into it. So I feel like if you do that, you are allowed to kind of throw that one away. Big Tristana player, also likes the Callista. We'll get onto some hyper carries if he has the opportunity. The last time they beat Sinfish, it was with a Lulu Cogmore lane. Sorry. Lulu Morgana lane would suck. Lulu Cog, a little bit better. And we'll see whether they do go back towards giving some priority to Raze.
And let's kind of sit on this bottom lane for a bit, as unfortunately we do have a key binding issue at the moment, so it'll be quite some time before we get into the game, but hopefully resolve that as soon as we can. FBI against Raze. These two hypercarry S players, big game players, backed by very aggressive initiation-heavy supports, now coming into a meta that is very peel-focused, very hypercarry-focused, revolving around Ardent Sensor quite a bit, which we saw none of yesterday.
It's going to be a really curious matchup. Do they go back towards the aggressive playmaking supports? Do they play the hyper carry scaling composition in the bottom lane, or do they go back to utility?
Well, I think Ejim is a tiny bit more flexible. Not saying that he's a better support than Rogue. I just think he has picks like the Lulu and Morgana that he plays a little bit more proficiently, Fish, that can mean he can shut down a lane if he has to. The Morgana was instrumental last week. It actually turned into a must ban. He was just on point with Dark Bindings as well as that Black Shield. And as you can see, I mean, Raze picking up a couple of games of Caitlyn as well, even though it was nerfed, gets that CS up there nice and high and will be able to shove down turrets.
He runs a really interesting rune page for his Caitlyn as well. Close to 30% attack speed to kind of mitigate the nerf that came through.
Yep.
He's very confident with CSing despite the lack of AD early on.
As you can see, 9.73 when you're running nearly full attack speed is a fair amount of that. He also went Hurricane Fish a couple of times.
Yes, he did.
You know, one of the highest attack speed items in the game, I think, still.
And the highest movement speed out of all the Zeal items as well. So it does help out slightly with positioning. No longer helps proc your passive on Caitlyn, but we theorize that because now the bolts deal more damage based on your AD, it's good for Infinity Edge users like Tristana or Caitlyn, but no longer as good for Cogball and champions like that that deal on-hit damage.
Yeah.
But we still see Cogmores pick up the Hurricane quite a bit.
Just because he wants to hit everyone, I think, is the big thing. The champion that benefits from it the best is Jinx. We haven't seen her yet. I would be interested to see if someone does pick Caitlyn today, whether Jinx comes out. Is a big hyper carry that does fine into the Caitlyn lane, which could be a big factor here. Wonder if FBI has been sneaking a couple of games in there. FBI, for me, is one of those players that his team sets him up for really good success. We talk about it a lot, but Ryoma and Juves are both people that gain access to bottom lane incredibly often, and then through Rogue's playmaking, they're able to get FBI ahead. And when he's ahead, he does really utilize that and take over games, but they don't really go towards Dokula's lane at all. And we saw yesterday, he doesn't need it, but we'll see whether that is an area that the Chiefs look to exploit.
Which is interesting because both these teams were very bot side focused with their mid lanes being big carry players as well. Now that not only has Dokula stepped up since Rift Rivals, he had a great series yesterday against AV, but Chiefs are saying that Swiper is a legitimate carry threat. There could be the potential that we see a lot of topside focus, which was how Sin took down Chiefs last split. We didn't see Spooks replicate that in the top lane and help Swiper out to get ahead over Flares back then.
Yeah, exactly right. Flares able to pick up that Fizz in game number 5 and really storm onto Summoner's Rift.
Nightmares.
Nightmares? I would say that Dokula's Jack's performance was probably more terrifying yesterday, to be brutally honest, Fish.
True.
His ability to use Fiora as well in 2 of the games was also pretty on point. That blocks some of the Gnar because late game Gnar isn't going to be able to go with Fiora. Early game, you know, up until Black Cleaver is absolutely fine. Afterwards, it gets a little bit dicier.
And you'd have to think how much Bensel trusts his team. Some coaches will say, you know what, if they're going to go split push, let's go into a 5-on-5 team comp, play it safe, scale up, try and win the game through traditional play. He's more than happy to throw to goal and says, Dokula, I know you can take him. Beat him top lane, win the game for us, and he's done it twice now for the team.
And in my opinion, probably the 2 best coaches facing off against each other today in terms of consistency. Jish hasn't shown as much of it this year, but obviously has the resume from previous years to really throw it out there. And then Bensel's bought what? Ryoma, FBI, Dokula, Flares. 3 people that hadn't played competitive League of Legends ever before, and one that was a brand new import into a foreign country and turned them into a top 3 team 2 splits in a row. Really has been doing a fantastic job behind that.
And there's that top lane matchup. You can see Dokula, recent picks, all 3 very split push heavy champions. Swiper still very team fight oriented in his picks.
But you have to have a look at the difference in the average KDA, kill participation also up for Swiper, and he does a lot more damage to champions. That is, of course, because Dokula does just sit in a lane and hit one person over and over again. However, Swiper, his picks don't necessarily get bullied all that much, Fish. Gnar, very good laner. Shen, also a good laner, but both of them join team fights better than what the Jace and Fiora are going to be able to do.
And we know Swiper's excited for this match. He tweeted out as soon as Sind won their game over AV that Dokula played well, and he's excited to play against him today. He thinks it's going to be a fun matchup, and he's not going to go easy. And he's had a good split so far, Swiper. Hopefully he's able to step up once again coming into the Gauntlet, because Chiefs, they need the redemption story. It's one split where they get knocked down to 4th. If they can clean it up, get back up to the top 2, try and take the split here, it'd be a good redemption story for them.
Yeah, and I mean, when you have a look at the Chiefs, they've nearly had 2 perfect splits in the OPL. I think they did have one, and then they were beaten by 4-0 in another. They had never lost a best of 5 in the OPL studio as the Chiefs Esports Club until last split when Sin were able to take them down. They had never lost an OPL split until last split when they obviously were eliminated in round number 2. These guys have the resume. They were the only team that had been international for 3 years, Fish, before this year. They really had been stepping up. And they thought that they were in a position to be able to take it all again last split. They thought they peaked at the right time, but unfortunately, Sin were able to take it away from them. Sin, on the other hand, I mean, they were the perennial like 4th or 5th place team. They sometimes didn't even make playoffs run because Avant was able to beat them to the punch.
Yep.
However, this split with rookies have been able to improve rapidly through the gaming house.
They had a shocker very early on in the split, but going to Rift Rivals, Sin bounced back strong. It almost looked like that it would have been better to send someone like the Chiefs to Rift Rivals, or even AV at the time, who were having a strong start to Split 2. But Sin going to Rift Rivals, they stepped up, performed really well, took it to every single team they faced off against. Even Gigabyte Marines, the game that Sin had against them, was very fun to watch. And coming back since then, they've looked like a strong force.
They said they felt like they were the most competitive against Gigabyte Marines, surprisingly enough. They felt that, you know, Legacy were a little bit cheesier. They were trying to beat them around Summoner's Rift. Juves' headset is just all over the shop today. Do you know, have you seen Uzi's headset lately?
He wears
the Princess Leia?
He puts
napkins
in his ears because it's sweaty.
Yeah, he gets sweaty ears, so he puts napkins underneath them. At least we don't have people doing that. Having a look at the junglers here. Historically, a matchup that has been firmly in favor of the man on the right. However, Juves recently starting to peg it back, Fish.
He had a good best of 5 series yesterday. And during the entire Gauntlet run, Juves was on and off, game after game. Game 1, he'd do well. Game 2, would falter and rely on the rest of his team to pick up the slack. In fact, in their matchup against Legacy, he made very crucial mistakes that could have won them the game if
Even shot calling errors. He said that the big shot call to push Nexus and not kill Carbon was actually on him. He told FBI to stop being a hyphy little kid and just focus the Nexus turrets. And unfortunately, Carbon then killed FBI, which Juves honestly blamed himself for.
Yep.
When he left that room, he said that was my fault that we lost that game, which obviously as a captain is the price you pay, but is a little unfortunate.
I remember stepping backstage after the series and someone said to me on a different day, that's a 4-1 in favor of Sin. They looked like the better team, but the clutch plays from Legacy and the big mistakes from Sin costed them that best of 5, and they were devastated.
Yep.
I know they came into their match against Sin last split not expecting too much. They thought, against Chiefs, not expecting too much. They thought the Chiefs were the stronger team, but after they beat them, they thought they were going to go to the finals. They thought they were going to be the team that takes on the Direwolves, and
that's what happens. Beating the Chiefs, for whatever reason, just pumps your tires up. I mean, these are the guys that have beat internationally. We've already gone through their resume. You beat them, you feel on top of the world. You could take on anyone after that, Fish. And I think that was the moment that Sin really started believing in themselves. And that Ryoma legitimately was a threat. When you beat Swiffer in a best of 5, that is something special.
And how do you think Swift has performed this split?
He's been on and off, to be honest. The reason that his stats don't look all that great, I think he's had something like 7 or 8 Galio games woven in there, Fish, which really do hurt your average damage to champion as well as CS per minute. So I wouldn't put too much stock on those two things. However, kill participation down, as well as the fact that he's averaging more deaths, I believe, than Ryoma. You wouldn't want to quote me on that one, but I did check the stats earlier this morning. Means that he has been up and down.
I do remember when I first arrived in Oceania, Chiefs were playing without their superstar mid laner.
Yeah,
they had
Liquid
cheese on their roster. And the no Swiffer, no clue meme was rampant in Twitch chat during that time.
Certainly was.
And he had a great split then. I agree with you that this has been on and off performances from him, but he's still very solid in the mid lane.
The thing
we'll
is,
have a tough match against Ryoma today.
And what people don't realize is what Swiffer does for the team outside of just being a superstar mid laner. He's one of the more mature voices, obviously one of the elder players. He's been around for 5 years now in competitive League of Legends. He just brings a wealth of experience outside of just, getting the runs on the board.
Very few roster swaps for the Chiefs as well in the past few years. In fact, only losing Radier for Raze.
Yep.
After Radier retired, Raze did step in the big trade between the Chiefs and Direwolves a couple of seasons ago.
Obviously, Radier was retiring, so the Chiefs wanted to look towards a franchise player. They felt their bottom lane wasn't working out.
And it's paying off. Raze has stepped into us. He's become a superstar himself as an AD carry. Performed really well this entire split. Hopefully be able to see more from him. But we're into Champions Select. The issue has been resolved. And the first few bans have come through. Thresh already been banned out away from Rogue. The Dokla ban has come out with Jace. Elise being banned out by Sin. And then Twisted Fate.
Twisted Fate, a champion we have seen not at all this split, Fish. Someone's leaking scrims. There is a sieve somewhere in these two teams.
Finally, Sin will ban out Morgana, taking away Ejim's champion. But yeah, Twisted Fate, it's one of Swiffer's pocket picks. We know he can play it. He's played it historically, but not recently at all. And the final ban from the Chiefs will be Rakan, taking away that support pick that both Rogue and Ejim have bet skins on today.
So no one going to get any skins off anything. They're also just going through a couple of the Chiefs picks at the moment.
The Fizz Hover.
Yeah. There we go.
First pick Kalista. You'd kind of expect that with
Lulu Cog.
with Kalista not being banned out. And we have seen Raze play Cog more recently. No Ardent Sensor picked up yet in the Gauntlet run. This could be the first match.
Lulu Twitch. Gragas is a great takeaway.
Good pick, as well as the denial from both Dokla as well as Juves. Sin heavily prioritized this pick when Kalista is down. Now, next pick for the Chiefs. Normally their bottom lane would be the focus here. We saw in yesterday's games, it was jungle, 80 carry support. That were the picks on red side.
So you have two options here. Sorry to cut you off, Fish. You either take away Braum or something like that you feel is going to partner well with the Kalista, or you take, I was going to say you take a different support that kind of nullifies that. Obviously, Morgana being taken away makes it a little bit more difficult. Tristana is the crit hyper carry at the moment. I think Tristana is in a terrific place. She just feels so smooth to play at the moment. However, does take some time to ramp up still.
Ooh, Jarvan locked in for Sin nice and early, just like they did yesterday. And Cassiopeia picked up by Ryoma. He played well the champion, and it's one of Swiffer's signature picks in the current meta.
Certainly is. See whether they want to go towards... Ooh, and they take away Nah. So they don't want DOS to be banned at all. Swiper, Big Swips, whatever you want to call him. Don't want him to get target banned in the second round. They think that Swiffer's champion pool is fine. Maybe they can ban out some of Ejim's champion pool here. I would expect Chiefs to get rid of some top laners, or they go towards support Fish.
Yeah, it'd be Alistar and Braum, you'd have to think that Chiefs ban out here.
It still leaves like Taric available, Blitzcrank. There is a couple of picks there that still go with it.
Just none we don't see too often. Bans out towards Swiffer here, with Syndra taken away.
Trundle also could still be played with Kalista.
Nah, I didn't sense a Trundle. Please don't do it.
Why not? Stoneborn pack. Everyone with CC can build an Ardent Sensor Fish. We saw in the CIS region, mid laner Kira went Talia mid lane, build a Rylai's Crystal Scepter, build an Ardent Sensor, went Stoneborn pack.
Oh boy. Ardent Sensor, what a meme. Thankfully we haven't seen it so far. Corki's the final ban from Sin, and it is Alistar Braum taken away by the Chiefs. That would be interesting.
That would be, I would say, bad. I'm going to hazard a guess against it.
But what do you want to pick up against Cassiopeia? Because she is a very dominant mid laner.
Certainly is. I mean, you can just go for a nullifying lane. Something like an Orianna would work well there. Bigger team fight presence, arguably. Longer range, also a little bit more defensive capability. Doesn't get chased out of lane too hard, Fish. You go towards healing, you just play it nice and safely. You do have to be worried about the 2v2, however, coming out of the Chiefs. Both magic damage users going into mixed damage makes it a little bit hard. Although now it's Sejuani jungle.
Flex. Jarvan heads into the top lane for Dokla. Sejuani in the jungle for Juves. Final pick for Sin is going to be Kennen for Rogue.
All right.
That's a big team fighting team comp.
Certainly is, and a bully lane coming out of the Cassiopeia, the Kalista and the Kennen. So I think that this game's taken a little bit of a right turn because I don't think the Chiefs would have seen a comp like this yesterday coming out of Sin. They've obviously prepared completely separately for the two teams. And now it looks like they've gone completely towards 5v5.
And it is going to be the Janna support for Ejim.
That makes sense. Kennen, as well as Jarvan flying at your team comp. What else would you want then? Something that can just completely nullify that, give a little bit more AD to Raze. The movement speed, kiting back towards Janna, against something like a Cassiopeia is something we don't talk about all that much, but the Tailwind passive certainly helps, as well as a coin upgrade Fish.
Yep.
So I think the Chiefs team comp is okay. However, big 5v5 wombo combo will be available for Sin.
It certainly is. The Chiefs, though, they're not afraid to go 5-on-5 with their team composition either. Just very different windows for them. They rely a lot on Mega Gnar to get into the backlines.
Yep. Flash needs to be available for Spooks if he wants to be able to start off a team fight effectively. That Flash Body Slam combo. They have very inconsistent engage. Let's go with inconsistent. Versus someone like a Sejuani that just pegs an ult, or someone like Jarvan that flashes and just jumps on your head. So we'll see whether the Chiefs can make it work. Very similar composition to what they were running last week.
It was.
Completely different composition coming out of Sin Gaming this time around.
And they're going to give Dokkan to Jarvan this time. Yesterday we saw Juice pick it up in 4 of the 5 games. The one game he did not, it was taken away by AV.
Yep.
And that was played in the top lane by Series. But this time, Dokkan going to flex his muscles in the champion up against a Gnar. It's not a bad matchup for him, and definitely helps out that he has an aggressive jungler as well.
Certainly does. And I think the big thing for me is that this shows that Sin are flexible. If they had to put Jarvan back in the jungle and put Dokkan back on a split pusher, you would think, all right, cool. They can't play at top lane. Like, this is just going to be Juice's pick every single time.
Yep.
It's an S-tier jungler right now. It makes sense. However, the willingness to still flex it around means that anytime they pick it in further drafts, there has to be that little bit of a question mark.
And we'll have to see if anything changes throughout the rest of the specified series. But we're on to Summoner's Rift for game number 1. Sin Gaming taking on the Chiefs. Before we get into the action, let's check in with Serianne, who's standing by with the coach of the Chiefs, Jish.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm standing here with Jish. Now, you got to see Sin play 5 games yesterday. Was there anything that you learnt or anything that surprised you?
I think the most surprising thing was just that Avant played really well. So, just like before you get into any interview question, congratulations to them. I think they looked really good, and it was definitely close to them. I guess the result. Well, I mean, the result was close, hey, but yeah, no, it was a really close series. In terms of learning, I think we saw a lot of what they prioritize, and then interesting perspective is that we saw what Avant wanted to deny Sin a lot. Like the Gragas, for example. So, yeah, no, we definitely learned a lot from that.
We know Swiffer used to be a bit of a fiend on Twisted Fate, but were you expecting that ban to come out today?
Not expecting it, but it's not all too surprising. Simon's been practicing a lot in solo queue, and we've been playing around with a lot of matchups in scrims, so it's one less tool we have to use, but yeah.
And
looking
at Sin's team composition today, what's the biggest danger you can see?
I think Rioma's Cassiopeia is really strong, so we have a little bit of a hesitation around mid lane, I think. Otherwise, they have a really good mid-game team fight. They can pile on a lot of CC with Kalista, Kennen, Jarvan, Sejuani. So I think if we survive the mid-game, we'll outscale. But yeah, we have to be careful about that.
Well, thanks for talking to us today, Jish, and best of luck with the series.
No worries. Thank you very much.
Serianne has learned. Don't ask Jish about his comp. Ask them about the opposition.
Yeah, exactly right. But a little bit of a tussle here, Fish, with brush control given over to Dokkan. He gets a much better trade. Yep. He also has a sustain advantage, although now Swiper gives him a couple.
Yeah, that was bad. I was about to say that Gnar has a very short range from a ranged champion. Jarvan can trade very well with that shield. But Dokkan took one too many auto attacks there.
Yeah,
Swiper
also,
the upper hand.
Yeah, Swiper's going to be autoing the wave for sustain. Means it will push in. You can see mid lane has hit level 2 already as we were watching some shenanigans top lane. Coin start out of Aegium versus a little bit more aggressive and spell thieves on Rogue. There's just so much to talk about around the whole map. Mega Gnar about to come through with level 2.
We have a tweet coming in from Devs Stefina. Juice, Mum, Sin Oceania, set your goals high and don't stop till you get there. We're right behind you all the way. Hashtag Sin Fighter.
Sin have a very passionate fan base.
And much as I love a good fairy tale, it's Chiefs time. We are the Chiefs. Hashtag Chiefs
And
win.
that's Quinn Korobitz. That's the 80 carry of the Chiefs mum. As the junglers now bop into each other in the jungle, and Spooks is absolutely destroying Jubes.
Really good damage come out from Spooks.
Oh,
Jubes,
slow comes through.
he's not able to get the chunk of damage that comes out from the burst after the stun.
Kevin Paul, that's KP. That's Aegium's dad. Just parents flying everywhere today.
Mums and dads of the OPL chiming in today. It's good to see all the support we get for the players here in the league.
Isn't it though? My parents don't even know what a League of Legends is, Fish. You can see bottom lane already getting significantly pressured. Down 10 CS at only the second wave and continually taking a harass underneath turret. Will start to add up.
Which means, once again, Sin have drafted themselves 3 really good lanes. You can already see Dokkan doing fine against Swiper. In fact, has burnt his only potion. Trading a single corrupting pop for it as well. He goes in again, gets good damage on the Swiper. Grass of the Undying as well. Swiper does next to nothing.
Yeah, however, this game, lane will start to swing very heavily. Jarvan does well early game while he has mana against a lot of people. I feel like as soon as Swiper gets boots too, Swiffer might die.
Swiffer, Ryama gets good damage, flashes on him. forces the heal out of Swiffer, and Ryoma looked like he didn't have enough mana to twin fang
Bad trade out of Ryoma. You do not want to give up your flash for just a heal against the Gragas that has a flash body slam combo. He was just going to be able to force him out of lane, Fish. There was no way Swiffer could come back to that lane if Ryoma didn't flash after him. I think that is a first of, you know, just the nervous mistakes that can come out when you're in a big best of 5.
Yeah, and Ryoma's lost a lot of CS for that as well. Missing about 4 to 5 minions. We'll get this cannon.
Yep. And Ryoma is such a good Cassiopeia. But I feel like Swiffer kind of mind-gamed him into that one. Obviously, you don't want to take a losing trade, but if you have to give up this whole wave, that is so much experience.
He's just waiting in Fog of War, so he wants to come back once Swiffer pushes this in.
Yep. So that's smart out of Ryoma. Has gone the Doran's ring start, 2 potions. So, yeah, he's absolutely fine now. Just the early advantage. See the pink ward has been placed on the bottom side of mid, so Juves will be able to spot out Spooks now.
Yeah, but we've already seen that Spooks wins this trade nice and early due to the Gragas damage that comes out.
Not only that, he just waits for the passive to go away, Fish. Spooks is being really patient because he's got Courage of the Colossus. The old Colossus Keystone Mastery there. Isn't going for the extra damage of Thunderlorn. And you can see that he's just confidently walking at him. Don't know why he's that confident given the fact that Ejim isn't actually in lane at the moment. So it is risky still.
I mean, it must just be the lane priority that he's gotten from Swiffer that he's happy with. Ryma's already...
fact that they're clearly showing him bottom lane as Juves will be able to stun him up here.
There's that damage from the burst, but Spook's still winning the trades quite well. Gets the big chicken.
Yeah, took the 3 or 4 of the chickens, I think, there. So we'll be very happy with that. Also, we'll spot out the pink ward.
That was good from Ryoma. He sacked a lot of CS, but found a good win to go back. Now 18 CS behind, but gets his tier, which is crucial for Cassiopeia.
Yeah, it is. But Cassiopeia wins this matchup.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be 18 CS behind in a winning matchup. You can see Swiffer gives his belly a rub, obviously feeling pretty good about himself. Dokelet is up in the top lane, as well as a 12 CS lead in the bottom lane, which is why this game is still dead even, Fish. And also, Dokelet didn't have to use his TP for his shop, so there's always a potential that if something goes wrong elsewhere on the map, he can show up while Swiper cannot.
One thing I do know about Ryoma, though, after watching him play at Origin, is he's very tilt resistant.
Swiper is petrified right now that Juves is up here.
Good ward by Dokla. Can spot out Spooks if he tries to run through the lane. And that denied a lot of experience away from Swiper. You can see that he's still a level behind Dokla.
Yep.
So that's a big play coming out from the top lane.
He's a full level behind as well. As you can see, Dokla's experience, as we were explaining yesterday, he's about to tick over to the next level this wave, and Swiper only just got it with a teleport. Fishery.
So currently, top lane doing well for Sin. Bottom lane being pushed in very heavily by Sin as well. The lane that you'd expect a big advantage. Mid lane. What? That's 7 minutes and 15 seconds, and Sin have first turret?
That is huge for Sin. All of a sudden, what was a dead even game, you know, we were talking about the fact that the Chiefs were still in this one, has absolutely been blown wide open. Now Swiffer needs to get a wriggle on. You can see that he's trying to harass underneath turrets, because if he doesn't pick up a solo kill, get some pressure somewhere, then this map will start to fall apart. Now Spooks is invading, but he has been caught out by the Cassio. Why are we showing the cask? Thank you.
Kill the red buff! Down with the red buffs in the jungle. Chiefs will use this time to try and take Mountain Dragon for themselves.
Still not worth. First Drake versus first turret. Let's give it over to the first turret convincingly and just move on.
So that's really quick from Sin, 7-minute turret. But they keep their AD carrying support in the bottom lane. They're happy with the Java and Nar matchup for now.
You can see the item advantage that this has led to. Boots 2, 1,100 gold plus 900 gold for the Vamp Scepter, so about 2,350 in the pocket of FBI versus like what, 2,000? Yeah, he's very far ahead. 600 gold up on Quinn at the moment. However, Raze did hit level 6 first.
Unfortunately for Raze though, he came to lane with 300 gold, couldn't shop. So he's not only behind 600 gold, but also 300 unspent. Juves wants to do a bit of counter jungling here. Swiffer looking to take as many chickens as possible, gets all the small ones. They'll be happy with that.
I mean, that's a win for Swiffer. Takes away a lot of the experience that would have been gained from Juves. Juves is just ticking level 6, leeching a couple of creeps from mid lane experience-wise, not gold-wise. And you can see that Swiffer, 20 CS up, is the Obi-Wan Kenobi of the Chiefs lineup right now, Fish. He is the last hope of any form of good early game coming through. And Ryoma is still putting in damage whenever he can.
Something I was about to say before Dokla was pushing out Sniper top lane is, after watching him at Origin, he's very tilt resistant. He doesn't check his CS scores very frequently, just his own gold. He's very quiet in the mid lane as well, and when he's down 2 or 3 kills, he's more than happy to go back, farm up, and rely on his AD carry, FBI, to step up. And he has. FBI is definitely stepping up in this game. And he's throwing Rogue at Swiffer as well. Ignites down. Everything piles on in. Sin get first blood in the mid lane.
And that's just 4 members heading in. 2 ultimates burnt. But when you're able to pick up first blood and now pressure this mid lane turret, why would you not go for the play, Fish? Top lane, however.
Dokla taking a beating from the Mega Gnar. Happy to trade back slightly, but they're going for more. Spooks has died in the mid lane.
And they're just trying to protect the turret, but it's not working. Sin have absolutely exploded in this early game. This is what Vicarious as well as T-Gun were talking about. Sin's early game looks to be much more impressive, and now Ejim, you might just be next. Good damage coming out, but will be the support living. And the Chiefs across the board look rocked.
What do they do now? They're 2,000 gold behind. They've swapped Ejim and Raze into the mid lane. Mid lane outer turret has taken some damage. Sin defend their own turret. Double buff to Ryoma now, who was struggling in this mid lane. With that kill, he should be close to even against Swiffer.
Yeah, certainly should be. Kill for about, 15, 20 CS, depending on what it is. He is up slightly. That's, of course, with global gold from the turret also being picked up. So everything looking pretty good right... Oh, it was first blood as well, wasn't it? Everything looking pretty good right now for Sin Gaming.
He's doing what we saw him do last series as well. He's going towards the Abyssal Mask, which we know has become a bit more popular on Cassiopeia. So I like this. We used to see mid laners build Negatron Cloak all the time first anyway.
Yep, certainly did. It was just a good way to get out of sticky situations. Swiffer tries to put some damage into Ryoma, but with that Negatron Cloak, not going to work. Swiffer also had to go back and pick up Merc Tread's Fish. So not where you want to be as an Orianna.
Dokla away playing quite well there. Sin will swap out their AD carry and support. They send them top lane. Swiper's actually waiting around the mid lane.
Yeah, he's just looking for anything that he can really get here. See whether they go for a dive onto Dokla. Hasn't spotted out where Spooks is just yet, and the wave will crash here.
Ultimate available for Spooks. Now shows Dokla does the right thing. Steps back, trying to contest these Krugs actually.
Actually did a lot of Spooks' health there in damage, so I think that's worth for Dokla. See whether he can clear out this wave as well. He certainly can. So the Chiefs behind in tempo. They're going to lose out on Rift Herald as well as top lane turret eventually. And that will also mean that they will eventually be able to break mid lane quite simply.
I like that from Sin. There's no rush to try and turret trade here because first turret's already fallen.
Yep.
No matter how fast Chiefs take this one down, when Sin take down top lane,
yeah,
it's going to be the same goal.
The thing about this is that if they see the Gnar join any kind of push, they just drop Rift Herald and they take another turret Fish.
That top mid is going to fall. Chiefs are retreating. Ejim was backing on a ward and it gets cancelled by Dokla.
Yeah, they just don't know where Swiper is. So Swiper's positioning probably saved that turret in the long run, Fish. But the Chiefs still 2,000 gold down at 12 minutes. Not looking all that impressive in this early game.
And sure, Swiper positioning may have saved the turret, but at what cost? He is now 30 CS behind Dokla. He was sitting around mid lane, inside of Sin's jungle, trying to take away the chickens, and even then, falling further and further behind this Jarvan.
Yeah, we'll be able to catch a big wave bottom. We'll catch him up about, 12 CS. We'll see exactly how far behind he ends up. The mid lane discrepancy is growing at the moment. However, as we already mentioned, the kill and the assist helped Ryoma out a lot, but Swift is back up in gold right now. It's about whether they can hold on and defend for long enough. We're not even at the mid game yet that Jish was worried about Fish. We're still in the early stages of the game, and the Chiefs just don't look like they have any way to fight off Sin's aggression.
I really want to know what has changed for the top laner of Sin. Coming into the split, he didn't look as good as Splares. There was a lot of criticism surrounding him. He was a rookie as well. He's become one of the better top laners in the OPL. Moving into this gauntlet run, he had a great performance against AV. In fact, 2 out of the 3 wins that Sin had was in the back of Dokla.
Yep.
He almost single-handedly beat AV in a couple of those games. And now he's doing perfectly fine against the Chiefs. Role playing on the top side of the map, wave clearing very well.
And now they drop the Herald in the mid lane, which means that the Chiefs cannot defend. They need to defend tier 2. You can see already Swiffer is backing up. This might be a burnt shockwave to try and clear out second wave. And Swipe is caught bottom lane by Ryoma.
Taking a lot of damage from the Snake Lady. Oh no, Swiper! You hate to see it, but Big Swips has splashed into a wall, giving Ryan a kill in the bottom lane.
Yeah, it gives it a little bit of a chuckle, but that one feels bad. You see the head rolls back afterwards. Should have been able to line up that flash fish. It's not a hard one to be able to land from that side of Summoner's Rift. However, he mucks it up, and now it's 3 kills, 3 turrets, and a 3,000 gold lead early over for Sin.
And they must be ecstatic. Sin, we know they're an emotional team. We know they're very, they have a, I'm going to continue the meme here. They have good mental fortitude, but at the same time, they're emotional players. When they win, they start to snowball. They start to get pumped up. They get ready for the next match. They can taste victory already, even though it's just game 1, 14 minutes in, and they must be excited.
And look at Juice. Juice is about to camp out Swiper one more time, and this could lead to another kill. If he nails him with the ult and Ryoma flies past that turret, would be a good news story. And Swiper's just getting denied CS after CS. You can see mid lane, the exact same thing is happening. They don't know where the cannon is, so Swiffer can't defend this turret either. The Chiefs are just bleeding objective.
Spooks is trying to come into the mid lane to defend that, will successfully do so. Dokali did a good job top side of the map. He didn't save the turret, but he sent Ejim back to base and almost took him down. He stepped too far forward there.
I mean, Ejim's level 6 versus level 11 on Dokla. So even though Dokla hasn't got like the most scary items at this stage of the game, I mean, he's on his way to the 2-item spike of Jarvan. The fact that Ejim just has nothing is more important.
He's now got his Ardent Sensor, but what's the trade-off here? Janna going to be able to pure for Raze, who still needs more items, despite the Ardent Sensor giving him a big buff.
Yeah, he needs 3 items in this game at least, Raze. Probably also needs to go towards the Last Whisper, given the fact that he's fallen behind.
Whereas Rogue's comfortable now. He's got Ultimate from Kalista. He's a cannon. He's more than happy to initiate. Doesn't buff up anyone, but he's going to do his job no matter what time in this game is.
And also, something that we don't talk about much from Ardent Sensor supports, and a reason that we might not see them played as much, is they forfeit so much map control fish.
Yep.
You can see already that wards are out absolutely everywhere for Sin Gaming. They're all throughout the jungle. They're scattering the vision of the Chiefs. They're blowing up blast plants where they can. And the big news story is that Ejim still hasn't been able to pick up any Sightstone because he's rushed an Ardent Sensor, which sure makes him more... Oh, Swiper might be dead here.
Dokla going to get collapsed upon. The Gnar into nothing from Swiper.
Big Swips might be on a little bit of tilt fish.
And they give the kill to Dokla as well.
That was a whiffed ultimate. Shouldn't have used it at all. Should have just held on to it and said, all right, I'm dead, guys. Let's reset the map one more time. But instead, uses a desperation ulti, trying to get away at all costs. Doesn't work out for him. And Sin continue this stranglehold. It's only 2,500 gold. But when you're only 16 minutes into the game and you're going to lose another turret, that is very hard to communicate to your team.
Meanwhile, mid lane under siege as well. That mid lane inner turret should fall here. So they do lock down Spooks, looking for an initiation. Dokla naturally taking down bottom lane. Ryoma is split pushing on the top of the map. This is so disciplined from Sin.
Certainly is. They're stuck to the 1-3-1 the whole time that this game is going in. You can see Juves now can start to counter jungle a little bit. Interested to see if this continues. Spooks takes it away. Spooks is still up in experience and levels, which is pretty impressive, given the fact that your team is getting pummeled into the ground. Does take a lot of damage, however. This turret will fall as well.
Look at FBI. He knows that Swift has Shockwave. That turret's not going anywhere. Spooks!
Got the flash.
Jumps in, look to knock him back. All right, did get the flash from FBI, but very patient play again from the entire map of Sin. And this is a team that used to be called the Sin ARAM squad, who run it straight down mid lane, pick every fight they can find. And to watch them play such patient, methodical, great League of Legends is exciting.
Yeah, it certainly is. Chiefs are doing okay at getting farm onto their carries fish. Game certainly isn't over, but this turret will fall. An ultimate comes out. All of a sudden, Spooks, the tankiest member, in trouble.
Rogue wanted to go in. Shockwave whiffs. That was smart from Rogue. Dashed in, decided not to flash, held everything, and just baited out the rest of the Chiefs.
Yeah, you can see that Swiffer wanted that team fight right there. Pulls the trigger on the ultimate. 2 members, half a step away of being caught in that, in Rogue as well as Jews, but they did play the discipline thing. They got the objective. They back away. 20 minutes into this game, it's a 4,000 gold. This looks eerily similar to how the Chiefs actually played against Direwolves Fish game 1.
Yep.
We know that Direwolves were able to pick up that victory, but the Chiefs are just trying to use abilities to stall out the game as much as they possibly can, whilst pushing out one side wave. They know they're not strong enough to push out both side waves, so they're kind of trading farm, which could be okay, but means that they're not going to be online until 30 minutes into this game.
Which is where, if you're a Sin fan at the moment, as much as Sin are so far ahead, this is where you have to be a little bit scared, because this is the exact time yesterday where they started to fall off against AV.
Yep.
Mid-game is where AV were able to pull back. And we know the Chiefs can stall out games for an indefinite amount of time. No matter how far they are in gold, they know how to stall games out. They know how to play passive and play safe. But Sin, they have looked slightly better. Is it enough to pick up a crucial victory in Game 1?
They look really focused today, Sin, which is a difference for me. Yesterday, they were making aggressive play. They were kind of falling down. Today, looks like just a focused macro game plan is what Bensel has sent them onto Summoner's Rift Game 1 with. The other big thing is they have Callista and Cassiopeia, which means that the game, as soon as it hits 20 minutes, becomes very easy to close out Fish because you have the quickest Baron take in the game, categorically, as well as one of the best secures. And we're going to be able to see that unlimited mana build come out of Ryoma. He's sitting on 30% cooldown reduction through the Abyssal Mask, through the Morellonomicon, having a very good game so far, even though he fell so far behind in the landing phase.
Sin maintaining their map control. Now Sidestone's been picked up by Ejim. Charge away. Something that's not touched on very much with Unasensor is the fact that, yes, you can still get your Trinket. Gives you 2 wards instead of the 3, which is not too crucial, but you lack a sweeper then.
Yep.
And that's what Sim were abusing throughout the early game. Now that Ejim has his own, still level 8 though, not the upgraded sweeper, can start to regain map control for the Chiefs.
And what Sin need to do here is be decisive, Fish. They need to either say we're pushing waves or we're starting Baron. You can't let Swiper stay for too long, so this is a great call.
Yeah, they call for a fight. They lock down Spooks. He doesn't take too much damage to kick things off, and Sin disengage.
But that's what I'm talking about. Just make a couple of those plays, force them away from Baron, then you'll be able to start it up. They do that right now. Ryoma did step on a ward, so the Chiefs know this is happening.
This is scary as well, because Swiper is about to go Mega. It could be a big team fight for the Chiefs, but Rogue jumps in. Ejim forced to flash away. Spooks is the first target, and they take him down. The jungler is dead. Swiper comes in, big Mega Nah, big Shockwave, and one by one, Sin Gaming's carries are falling. Ryoma is in trouble, Rogue's forced to flash away, FBI goes down, and that's a big team fight from the Chiefs.
It certainly is, and now they're going to look towards Baron Fish. They're going to say, Jubes, if you want this, come back and try and take it. They take a huge team fight, and even though Sin made all the right calls, their ults were just not good enough at the start of that, and too many members of the Chiefs were able to escape.
And the redemption fight from Swiper as well. Nailed the Gnar ultimate, got the big stun afterwards. Oh, Raze actually interrupts the jump coming out from Sin, and Jews will fall to the AD carry. Rocket jump secures that one, and Baron for the Chiefs.
In control of the game. So much disciplined play coming out of the Chiefs. We said all they had to do was wait, scale up. They had the conversation. And this is what I'm talking about. With ultimate, only Spook sitting in the middle of that Maelstrom, and they've got nothing else left. They're flashing forward, and Swiper nails them. 3-man Shockwave comes through. It was actually 4. Juice got hit as well. And Ray's free hitting on the back end is absolutely a disaster for this Sin Gaming lineup.
And what were they doing? They were playing it so patiently. They got the kill on Spooks. They got Swiper's teleport. Why is Ryoma flashing forward to throw out an ultimate?
Just go back towards Baron. The correct call there, Fish, is the reset. We talk about it so many times. We got 1 kill, reset, go back, make them come towards us. Let's not jump on them, because Swiper's TP, as you so correctly pointed out, with Mega Gnar just about to proc, was massive.
And on top of that, Sin. They have Cassiopeia with blue buff. They have Callista. They had the Smite. No Smite on the Chiefs. They stick around in the pit, try and force a fight there. It's difficult for the Chiefs to execute what they just did in that choke point. But now they're back in this game. In fact, trying to take back the goal lead for themselves, and they will once this mid lane outer turret falls. Raze now has 2 items, and with that Ardent Sensor, he starts to murder. 3 kills, stacking up this Tristana quite nicely.
And the biggest thing is the fact that all the gold right now is just on Raze. And this is one of those compositions that you can be set up to solo carry. As you can see, everyone else on the Chiefs kind of still even with their opponents, but Raze starting to skip ahead, and because he's an Infinity Edge user, will do more damage as this game progresses than what Callista can ever hope of doing, Fish.
The difference in this game across the board is 200 to 600 gold in every single role. It is still very even between these two teams. Just Baron buff separating them, and these 2 Mountain Dragons that Chiefs have picked up.
But we've already said it. I think the Chiefs have a better scaling composition just through Infinity Edge user AD carry. That is what the differential will be. Potentially Cassio can go massive in some fights, but look at this. With the Ardent Sensor, just able to stand and deliver at turrets, he takes down another.
Swiper does go Mega there. So, 1,500 gold lead for the Chiefs. Only 2 more outer turrets to take, mid lane and bottom lane. If they get 1 more, it gives them a sizable advantage. If not, dead even when Baron buff expires.
Exactly right. We'll see exactly what comes through here. Spook spots out 2. This now can be bad for Juves. See if the rest of the team can get here in time.
FBI's coming through, but Chiefs focus on the objective. They get mid lane out of turret. Rogue wants to go in, already at half health though. Dokla gets on top of Egypt, pops his ultimate, interrupted. The support goes down, but a massive shockwave will kill the jungler.
Oh,
they knock back Dokla as well. FBI's getting good damage. Big ultimate from Rogue as well as Ryoma. They're going to take down the Mega Gnar, chasing after the 80 carry as well as the mid laner.
So in the end, it's a 3-for-3 trade. That is Sin Gaming fighting underneath the turret that was hitting the Chiefs the entirety of the time. Ooh. However, it is mid lane and 80 carry left available on both teams, and look how much damage Swiffer does.
Chiefs just have the range advantage in this siege. Tristana, maximum range. Orianna, much higher range than the Cassiopeia. This turret's going to fall nice and easy. Ray's taking quite a few shots for this, but no FBI to help with the defense. Means that Chiefs will break the base and pick up a 4,000 gold lead.
And this is a 7,000 gold lead swing. Remember, before that Baron buff, Sin were up 3,000 gold. Let's take another look at it. That grounded kills Egypt straight away. They pile in on top of him, don't use too much. Very good start to this fight. But then Spooks' cast absolutely nails multiple members. Once again, slicing Maelstrom. Gets a couple at the start, but then is kind of lackluster. Ryoma's ultimate only hitting 1 means that the Chiefs' backline is untouched and able to take over the team fight.
Rogue and FBI played that so well. Got the knock up on both Raze and Swiffer. They got the ultimate as well as a double stun from Cannon. But Ryoma throwing the ultimate out quite early and quite greedily almost.
Yep.
Kind of costed him there. If he held on to that during the next push, could have been an ace for Sin. But they hold on. 4,000 gold down after that Baron play. Base has been broken, but they don't have to play against the Baron minis anymore. Big news story for the Chiefs, though, is Raze has his item power spikes. Double Zeal item picked up with a QSS and Infinity Edge.
Yeah, exactly right. He's exactly where he wants to be at this stage of the game. Able to go towards a luxury QSS. Has the Mikhails as well, so double cleanse available. That's just in case Ejim falls down nice and early. Ejim sitting on 45% cooldown reduction right now, Fish. He's going to have shields out like with a 1.2 second gap or something ridiculous. Janna's a disgusting champion at the moment. And the Chiefs just going to continue this stranglehold of sieging up because they've got the double Mountain Dragon already.
Double QSS picked up. Mikhails will be picked up by Egypt to make sure that Ray stays healthy, or Swiffer. They go in, FBI's not back, instant flash, but a shockwave connects. FBI still alive, massive stuns come through. The wombo combo for Sin is huge. Somehow FBI still staying in this fight, but look at Ryoma, big swips is in, Big Gnar, boulders to the face, slaps them down as well. Tommy's still fighting back, Egypt goes low, the grounder comes out, massive shields from Egypt, keeps Raze alive, clutch plays from the Chiefs.
And Swiper, after having a disastrous early game, has absolutely put the Chiefs in his back in these team fights. That was a huge Mega Gnar, and the top laner of the Chiefs showing he is a legitimate carry.
Certainly is. Only Ryoma left to defend this against both carries and a Janna. This is not impossible. Chiefs will break the base, possibly take an inhibitor.
Yeah, they certainly will. Still 20 seconds on Dokla. You can just see the range and attack speed means that no one can get near Raze at this stage of the game. And Rocket Jump's ability to reset through the satchel charge is really what pushed Tristana over the edge. As soon as we gave her a little bit of attack speed back, she's just been obnoxious. Great start to this team fight. However, FBI's willingness to still fight, even though he's on so low health, is really what got them that first kill. And then Swips flashes forward, 3-man Gnar into the big ground slam as well for the kill. Dokla thinks he can get back in here, but Raze, lucky crit, good players crit more. That's just a fact of life, unfortunately. And able to go back towards what is now a last whisper, 5-0-5, after losing your turret at, what, 7 minutes in the game. Yep. Now turning into the carry the Chiefs really need.
7,000 gold lead for the Chiefs. One thing I wanted to mention about the Chiefs team comp, Raze, massive range. Orianna can provide great range to a team as well with a Janna. Means Sin, a short range, high CC team comp, have one chance to get into the fight. If they can't, the reset's just going to be way too potent, and we've seen it 2 fights in a row now for the Chiefs.
And it's also a hard team comp to come at, because you're going to have to run through Gragas Gnar, with Janna resetting the fight at every opportunity through the Nados, as well as the big ultimate Fish. Now with control over that mid lane wave, they should be able to easily access Baron as well. Push out mid, Well, actually, just wait for Na to continue the split push because nothing there. Ray's being caught up a little bit.
But they have double QSS and they're going to kill Juves. They just single-handedly take down the tank front line of Sin. Na is teleporting
Look
in.
at him go.
Ro gets knocked back. Roma can't get in the back line. Swiper jumps on top of the Snake Lady.
Oh.
Spooks, though, going to jump back in. FBI goes low. Swiffer goes on a killing spree, and one by one, Sin are going to fall. Yes, it's a great cataclysm, but you can't do anything else. Ray's going to go for more. FBI might die here.
Certainly might. Well, that's a huge crit. He gets
Goodbye.
the reset. Goodbye, FBI. And Ray's 7-0-7 is unstoppable.
Chiefs will take down Baron here. They just got 4 kills in a team fight. Raze and Ejim are left to go and take down Hibber. He's got on top of Ryoma. He just got a solo kill in Sin's base. That should be game.
He just wants to win it right now. Juves is going to be up in 5 seconds, but this needs to be a captain's performance. The rest of the Chiefs, they're starting to stream into the base, but it will be the Cannon, it will be the Sejuani trying to put an end to this.
Doesn't even matter. Raze and Ejim single-handedly taking down Ryoma means Rogue and Juves have to try to do something. Raze almost kills him inside the Fountain. He just stands in between the Nexus and Fountain. And with that, the Chiefs, they fight back hard and they take game 1 over Sin.
Boy, oh boy, we're going to have a series. The Chiefs are fired up. You should have heard their screams behind us. They were absolutely popping off in that game, but Sin's early game is terrifying. Let's just take a minute to remember that at about 13 minutes into this game, Sin were up by 4,000 goldfish and had complete control over the whole map.
But the late game team fight, Swiper, he made so many early game mistakes. One big play puts him back in it. Then he wins the subsequent team fight and the one after that as well.
What a monster. Ban Nah. I mean, they dealt with it in the laning phase, and normally that's what Nah's picked for. He can team fight, but he's really oppressive to deal with Frozen Mallet, with Black Cleaver. But those team fights, those Mega Nahs, were absolutely next level fish.
They certainly were. Swiffer as well had a fantastic game. Shut down Ryoma in the early game, and in the team fights, big shockwaves coming out from him. He's able to snipe out the back line as well and stay very safe.
Yeah, he certainly was. I mean, he was up 40 CS, but then he died. And Ryoma got that kill, got the double buffs, got an assist as well. All of the turrets falling, you're like, all right, they've got Cassiopeia to the point of the game which she'll be able to take over. Unfortunately, it didn't happen because with all the resets and with that big shockwave, Swiffer had a lot of impact.
So Sin win the early game, but Chiefs fight back and take game 1. Still a best 5 series, though. To break it down a bit further, let's send it back to the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Fish and Spawn. T-Gun Vicarious, this game, it really looked like it was in Sin's hands from the start, and then it all just fell away.
That's how most games look against when you're going Ardent Sensor. I'll say that from experience and just from watching games like it. They shouldn't have lost the tower as early as they did down bot lane. 7 minutes, shocking. But whenever you're going Ardent Sensor, I want everyone to understand it's not something that you go with the intention to win lane. You don't do that with the intention of winning the first 10, 15 minutes of the game. Doing that against Sin might be a bit naive because that's the strongest point of the game for Sin, but it wasn't unexpected from me.
Vicarious, I mean, you play a bit of support. You coach a little bit of support as well. Did you expect that kind of tower being lost at 7 minutes? And did you feel like when that tower went down, oh, Sin have got this?
You know, looking at this comp, right? You've got Janna Tristana in the bot lane into Callista Cannon. I did not expect the 7 minute first break. That was like upstairs. I was like, "What is happening?"
You were very confused.
I was.
It happened
was
so
kind of
quickly
shocking
as well, though, didn't it?
Yeah, it just happened like because there was no frames in the bot lane at all, and then all of a sudden,
well, tower's gone.
Tower's gone, and wow, that was kind of shocking because Tristana has pretty good wave clear with her E, the bomb.
And on top of that,
your Janna. You've got your Janna shield that amplifies the damage. How can you drop a turret that early into the game? It just doesn't make sense to me. And then, later on, 9 minutes, Sim rotated into the mid lane. Got the first blood.
Yep.
That was really clear.
Yeah,
really
I mean,
clean.
we were talking about Sin's aggression before the game, and they just sort of showed it. They only Sin would rotate their bot lane to mid at 9 minutes 30 and just be like, oh, let's just do it, guys, and throw him in. Swiffer should have respected the Callista ulti. He had the time to flash before that, but he thought that he'd be able to get away with either just sort of soaking the damage and leaving with his heal, or maybe flashing afterwards. It's what a lot of players do. They tend to save their flash until they absolutely have to burn it. So it's a little bit of a disrespect from him, but it's also really smart by Sin to just make that proactive play that we've come to expect from them, the fast, early aggression.
But we've seen this across the split from both of these teams. Sin wanting to play aggressive early and then perhaps, falling away, like you said, throwing around 30-minute mark. And Chiefs as well, going behind early and then using sort of macro or whatever other tools they have in their kit to fight it back. Vicarious, it felt like there was just this one moment where the game just turned around.
Yeah, so like this is the moment where I really, really want to highlight the Chiefs' coordination. So if you look at this, I mean, it's a bad execution from Sin. You've got the Sejuani ult that you missed. You've got the Javelin Flag and Drag that was missed. This play was very, very well coordinated between Swiper and Ejim because, Chiefs was like, hey, Mega Nar's coming up.
Yep.
We're going to initiate as soon as I go in. So, Nar got into Mega form, jumps in, immediately Ejim flash.
Yeah.
I mean, not flash, use her ult to push 2 members of Sin backwards into that very tiny wall next to the river. And that's the 3-man ult, and then, Chiefs just clean up. There's nothing to say.
At that
Just clean
point,
up.
Swipe had a bit of a rough early game, but that point, and then the subsequent fights where he did the exact same thing, just made him feel like the MVP for me in that game. A lot of people are going to look at the stats and go, well, Raze was whatever he was, 6-0-6. He had a perfect game,
10-0-10,
right?
whatever it
the
is,
perfect
yeah.
player he is. But he wasn't doing a lot in those fights proactively. He was just sitting on the back, making sure he didn't die, and honestly wasn't even putting out that much damage in the important fights. So while not dying is important, especially when you're going Ardent Sensor and putting a lot of eggs in the Raze basket, he wasn't doing enough damage, and that's where Swiper and Swiffer came in, just having that incredible coordination, the 3-man Nara ult into the 4-man Shockwave. That was really, really important for them to start mounting that comeback.
So after that fight near Baron and then Chiefs taking Baron, Tigon, did you feel like it was just all over then for Sin? Or, because we were up there and we were like, well, that's what we've been waiting for. Chiefs turning around. All right, everyone pack up your bags. But, it felt like this this Sin team could still come back at some point.
They could, but it felt really difficult for them. We saw them try to mount a comeback later on, but this is almost too little too late because it's a great engage for them. They take away Ejim for nothing. The Orianna ulti doesn't hit either of the main carriers in Kalista or Cassiopeia. Great Kennen ulti, and it's still just a 3-for-3 with a tower loss.
Yeah.
When you get pretty much everything you want and you're still losing an objective, and they also lost top tower on their inhibitor as well from this. After that, you got to think, what do you have to do to come back into this? Because I was watching that fight, I'm like, all right, yeah, that was good by Sin, that's good too, and they still lost the fight.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to give credit to Chiefs because they're not scared of falling behind in the early game. You see at first, Swiper got pushed away by Dockler. That was a very nice play that he pretended there's a jungle in the top lane.
Very smart.
Yeah, that was very smart. And then, but Chiefs, we're not scared of falling behind. We know we have the better macro, and then they know their win condition, and then they just play to it.
So the casters talked about that. They talked about when Dockler chased past the tower, and Spawn said, look, hey, he thinks Juves is up there. I mean, is that a high-risk, high-reward play? If Swiper turns around,
absolutely.
Dockler dies, right?
Absolutely. And it's about bluffing. If Dockler knows where the Chiefs jungler is, then it's just really smart because obviously Swiper didn't know where Juves was. He has to pay the respect. But at the same time, he might not actually die if the jungler is there because he's able to escape so readily. But it's just really smart proactive play that a lot of people don't do, and it's why it works so well. Because often, if someone acts like the jungler's there, the jungler is there. It's something that's nice and refreshing to see a player just going, well, hey, my jungler's here. I swear, dude, just trust me.
Not me. I'm a fan of honest League of Legends. I don't like this bluffing. Only truth on the rift. I think I want to talk about I want to talk about Raze as well because you shouted out Swiper, but I mean I'm going to be the one defending Raze because I mean this kid absolutely popping off. Now you got to remember this is his first full year playing with the Chiefs. And this is how he's starting his Gauntlet run for Split 2, and it felt like an impressive performance.
It might just be the high expectations I have of him. Obviously, the first few weeks this Split, he was hard carrying his team.
Every week.
Dragging them over the line, even when they seemed to not want to win. But at the same time, it just felt like He did well, all right? I feel really bad. He did really well, but it's just I expect so much more from him that when Swiffer and Spooks and Swiper do really well themselves, it feels more impactful.
Well, I mean, if you look at the damage chart and things, I think Razor's fine.
No, he wasn't bad. He wasn't bad.
I feel like I'm talking to my dad here, being like, Michael, I know you've done well, but I'm still disappointed in you because I expected so much. Like, I'm trying my best, Dad. I'm trying so hard. Come on. Anyway,
Oh my god.
Yes, I also want to talk about. I do want to talk about draft because we've got you here, Vicarious, and some weird things going on in this draft. There were some rumors going around that Swift had been practicing a lot of Twisted Fate in solo queue. Just said it in his interview. Would you have expected that Twisted Fate ban?
No, that was a very interesting ban. Twisted Fate Morgana.
Yeah.
Not something that you kind of see naturally normally. It's not like it's not even in meta, right?
It just felt like if you're going to ban Twisted Fate and Talia's open, Talia feels like a better Twisted Fate in most ways. So either they're really scared of something that they don't see often, because how often do you see Twisted Fate in pro play, or they didn't have bans. Like they were just like, well, we don't find anything super scary. Let's ban off-meta things that could surprise us.
Well, when we were talking about Twisted Fate ban, we were talking about it earlier today, and you were saying it's completely different in competitive play than it is in solo queue, just because people are on comms.
Yeah, like because in comms, you're just gonna say, Twisted Fate have ult in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Twisted Fate is walking towards bot side. Get out of it. If you're
Like,
not, if you're still under their turret, trying to take that 7-minute turret, you're gonna die.
The keynote is pings aren't enough. We need inbuilt voice comms apparently to make these champions worse.
Do you pay attention to pings? I ignore all pings because
just mute all the pings.
Yeah,
Just
most
mute
of them
all
are
the
just question mark pinging my corpse most of the time. It's just.
I love question mark ping. I very quickly question mark ping stupid things, especially my own stupid things.
Oh, absolutely.
It's
yeah.
like because my thought process is if I do something stupid, if I question mark it first, no one else will. All right, you got to get ahead of it.
But on the replay, people might not be able to know that you're doing it yourself. If you're looking at the Twitch,
Just AFK.
No, not at all. Not at all. We do not.
No. Don't AFK.
Yes, let's talk
Do
about
not
the
AFK.
rest of this. I feel like the Morgana ban directed towards EGM was as a result of the Morgana he played against Direwolves last week. But then so many support bans across the entire, which is what we talked about going into this, right? We have Thresh, Morgana, Rakan, Alistar, Braum. I mean, Rogue and EGM must be feeling like, come on, I just want to play my champs.
I feel like the Morgana ban, it didn't give away the Kennen pick, but it feels like it was banned to help facilitate the Kennen pick. Obviously, Black Shield removing stun, removing the knock-up is pretty beneficial. Janna does really well in her own right as well. But that's the only reason I can think of it, because other than that, Morgana isn't a top-tier pick. You wouldn't pick it to facilitate a hypercarry like Tristana. You wouldn't prioritize it over Lulu or Janna. So again, it might come back to just them not being comfortable against it.
I actually think the Morgana is probably there to, you realize how this hide the Sejuani pick as well, because Jarvan, in the current meta, you see him being played jungle a lot. And banning Morgana, you pick your Jarvan second. Just from looking at that, you've got Kalista, Jarvan, Cassiopeia in the first round. It looks like Jarvan is going jungle. So that's why you see Chiefs banning Alistar and Braum. And then, all of a sudden, it seems like, bam, I'm going to Johnny. Yeah. Because the thing with Kennen is that even Morgana have the Black Shield, you can only shield one of your mid laner or your AD carry, right? So it's not the most efficient thing. Like Janna is definitely way more efficient. So if they're looking to hide the Kennen pick and then they ban Morgana as one of the counters, they may as well ban Janna instead.
That's what I was thinking. It felt weird, but at the same time, I don't want to deride Bensel too much because he's a really smart coach. So obviously, there was something behind it.
That draft was working wonders in the first 15 minutes of the game. All right, well, Chiefs are currently up 1-0 over Sin in this first best of 5 series of today. But do not go anywhere because we're back with game 2 right after these highlights.
Spooks is the first target and they take him down. The jungler is dead. Swiper comes in. Big Mega Gnar. Big Shockwave. And one by one, Sin Gaming's carries are falling. Ryma is in trouble. Rogue's forced to flash away. FBI goes down. And that's a big team fight from the Chiefs. And Dokla gets on top of Ejo. Pops his ultimate. Interrupted. The support goes down. But a massive Shockwave will kill the jungler.
Oh,
they knock
dead.
back Dokla as well. FBI's getting good damage. Big ultimate from Rogue as well as Ryoma. They're going to take down the Mega Gnar, chasing after the 80 carry as well as the mid laner. Massive stuns come through. The wombo combo for Sin is huge. Somehow FBI still staying in this fight, but look at Roma. Big whips us in. Big Gnar, boulders to the face, slaps them down as well. Tommy's still fighting back. Egypt goes low. The grounder comes out. Massive shield from Egypt keeps Raze alive. Clutch plays for the Chiefs. And FBI goes low. Swiffer goes on a killing spree, and one by one Sin are going to fall. Yes, it's a great cataclysm, but you can't do anything else. Raze going to go for more. FBI might die here.
Certainly might. Well, that's a huge crit. He gets the reset. Goodbye, FBI.
Raze and Egypt are left to go and take that Hibber. He's got on top of Bryoma. He just got a solo kill in Sin's base. That should be game. Raze almost kills him inside the Fountain. He just stands in between the Nexus and Fountain. And with that, the Chiefs, they fight back hard and they take game 1 over Sin. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We just witnessed game 1 between Sin as well as the Chiefs, and it was back and forth, but Chiefs picked up that game 1 victory. If Sin want to win this one, they're probably going to try and take it to game 5 again, Spawn. Every single gauntlet they do it,
I
but
don't know
Chiefs
about that. I
looking
think
really strong.
Sin would be looking at 3-1 now. You drop the first game, all right, we'll get them at 3-1. If they drop the next game, all right, we'll get them at 3-2. Then you drop the next game, you've been 3-0. So a little bit unfortunate. I think that Sin would legitimately think if we have 3 more early games like that, there should be a 3-1.
So it's going to be same sides here. Sin, blue, Chiefs, red. What is the change, though? Do we see the Janna or Tristana taken off the board?
Yeah, that would be interesting, right? I think that the reason Thresh will be so contested and taken away from the Chiefs, by the Chiefs so much, is we saw how little vision they had Fish.
Yep.
And if you have Thresh on the opposing team and that little vision as the Chiefs, you will die over and over again. Kennen isn't quite as bad in that regard, so I think that the Chiefs would be very happy that they went for a team fighting bottom lane, when pick seemed to be what the Chiefs were really worried about.
Still the same bans from both teams?
I mean, as I said, the big thing for me is that Chiefs got the team fights, so they won. You could look at that game and be like, oh, what is Sin doing? Like, they were up 4,000 gold, guys. Let's all relax a little bit. Like, let's just take a deep breath. They still got up in the early game. Sure, they made a pretty horrendous team fight around Baron, but I think that if they had layered their ultis a little bit better onto priority targets, they probably would have won that as well. So I'm in agreement with Benzel that it's not panic stations yet. We're not at DEFCON 5. Like, they will take the same draft and try and do the exact same thing. And now the Chiefs have to prove that they can continually eat into these deficits.
So, Kalista here, Gragas, Tristana for the Chiefs, you reckon?
Yeah, that's what I'm calling.
And then we're going to get, I can't remember Juve's pick, Jarvan into
Cassiopeia. I don't think Cassio will be the pick.
Really?
I think that's the
that's
change.
That's going to be a ban, you think?
Nah, I think that, I mean, you can't pick.
Do it.
Nah, he's not going to do it. Tristana's just better. I think that the one lane I would pick Jinx into is if someone tried to play Ashe or someone tried to play Caitlyn. I don't think I would play it ever into... Ooh. There you go, the Chiefs want the Cassio.
Yeah, already an adaptation. Yeah, Jinx has a horrible matchup into Tristana as well. So not great for her there. But let's see what Sin decided to pick up now.
The thing about Jinx is you start the team fight and you're like, oh, this sucks. I have 3 items, why am I doing nothing? Then your support puts Ardent Sensor on you and someone dies, and then you're like, oh my god, look at me go! Look at me, Dad, I'm doing it! And then like everyone calms down again and you're like, oh, this sucks again. Like, why can't I be excited all the time with an Ardent Sensor all the time?
Unlucky. Well, Braum is the adaptation from Sin.
That makes sense.
With Roma's champion taken away.
We've already seen how instrumental the AoE damage coming out of the Chiefs was. Hopefully Braum shuts down some of that. And potentially now, Sin can just start banning away 80 carries.
Yep. I mean, Tristana can be taken away here. That's the big one from last game. Xayah follow up shortly after. But then you still leave a lot of good champions left. You have Twitch that's been played internationally.
Cogmore, Sivir.
Cogmore.
I mean, they could pick Lulu Cog, so maybe they get rid of Lulu Janna. Maybe that's the play. Say, fight us like men.
But Tristana's the first ban that come out from
that's
Sin.
Disappointing. I thought my idea was good. Obviously, Benzel doesn't agree with me. Damn you, Benzel.
Talia first ban from the Chiefs.
Oh, so even though they've taken the Cassiopeia, which is a Talia counter, they still get rid of it. So maybe a little bit worried of the global pressure if the map deteriorates that quickly again. They get rid of Galio, so once more global pressure. The Chiefs, the global pressure seems to be the theme with Twisted Fate, Talia, Galio gone.
Roma could play Corki here. It's not a great matchup into Cass. But
I'm going to go one step further, Fish. It sucks. You do not want to be a Corki player into Cassiopeia. Incredibly late game, Corki wins. Like when he gets to 3-4 items. Early game in the laning phase, Cassiopeia is much better.
But Ryoma seems like he's going to be happy to pick up the Orianna
why
into
not?
it. Let's
Mirror
see if he
match up
goes-
him.
Let's see if he locks it in. Meanwhile, with Kog'Maw being the last ban from Sin, Zaya's the first pick from the Chiefs. Sejuani locked in for Juice. Dokla top lane Jarvan again.
Yeah, the Xayah interests me because we've seen that. Ooh, that's an adaptation.
Emperor of Shurima locked in for Ryoma in the mid lane.
Yep.
Woo! No Ardent Sensor though, Spawn.
No Ardent Saucy.
I mean, you could. Brom technically can proc.
Stoneborn Pact, Q. Soon as he auto attacks, you can't, because you can't put a soldier out first, Fish. You have to auto attack, then get your soldiers out, because otherwise you don't get the healing.
All right, that sucks.
A little bit rough.
Not happy about that one, whereas Lulu does get picked up for Egypt. Blitterlance.
Swiffer's favorite ability. They will go for the heal barrier on Raze and Aegium, so a little bit of a defensive mix up there. There is a lot of engage, so I like that. Ryoma playing Azir is interesting. He's a big Azir player.
Yep.
When he was on Legacy Genesis, he was actually one of the monster Azir players, Fish.
And I know you theorized the Azir pick with Ardent Sensor. What do you think about it without?
I don't care without, because like the reason that I like Azir at the moment is hyper carry plus Azir wins games. And Kalista, not really a hyper carry, but has a lot of attack speed and mobility and can get around team fights if she gets some good resets here. I think that, you know, against mid-range comps, Azir is busted. That wall lasts for so long if it hits the two tanks, and you just can't run through it.
It kind of denies Swiper and Spook's initiation potential as well. Both of them got to jump.
Potentially, yep.
Just put out the soldiers and stop. But this is curious. They didn't show this yesterday against AV, so they've definitely hidden this pick for the match against the Chiefs. I believe when Cassio was picked up by AV, they went for the Orianna.
Yep.
Wait, no, it was the other way around.
I don't know.
Something happened.
Something happened,
But
but
they
they didn't play Azir. Like, let's just leave it at that. Let's just leave it with the definitive facts, Fit. They did not play Azir yesterday. This is a new pick, ladies and gentlemen.
And it's been so long. We haven't seen Azir in the longest time.
Hey, I got carried by an Azir 2 nights ago in solo queue. I know all about Azir. Azir God, I think your name is. Thank you very much. I really needed that win. I was on tilt, and he really came up with the goods. But however, in these two teams, you know, both mid-range teams, lots of CC coming out of each of them. But Ardent Sensor for Raze may push him over the edge again. We'll see.
Potentially. Azir, another one of those champions that I've just refused to ever touch. You've actually watched me play one of my Azir games, and you were horrified.
Yeah, don't want to see it ever again, Fish.
But for now, let's check in with Sarian, who is standing by with Bensel.
Thanks, guys. I'm standing here with Bensel. Now, Sin had to play an exhausting 5 games yesterday. Did you get a chance to review those games and look at any mistakes you may have made before focusing on today's match?
I think we talked about it a lot. There are a lot of them are mistakes that we've seen before from our team, so it's not too surprising from that end. Just try and, you know, clean it up. Yeah.
In games 1 and 2, you've banned out Twisted Fate. Is this a champion that you see as a serious danger when the Chiefs get their hands on it?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's kind of a crutch for them. Like, it helps them play around the map early game, which they really struggle with the moment he hits level 6. There's other champions that can do that from mid, but we have more stuff prepared for those champions, so TF is something we might struggle to deal with.
And we've got Azir coming out in the mid lane. Are you able to explain what he brings to your team's composition?
Yeah, he's slowly been getting stronger as a champion. Mainly, he's as a good lane counter to like the medium range champions that are kind of slowly getting weaker and weaker as Riot patches the game. He brings a lot of scaling. Really, that's what you want to do with him. And if you can disengage their front line from an Azir in the late game, then he shreds everyone.
Well, best of luck with the series, Bensel, and thanks for talking to us today.
Thanks.
During that time, FBI has been forced to flash away. He's staying in lane with half health, and Rogue thought he had exhaust.
Yeah, he ignited him straight away. That was interesting. And you can see that FBI takes a lot of damage. Raze bounces back before the last proc comes in. Maybe the one weakness of this level 1 is the fact that Aegium has W, flash forward W'd him.
Yep.
Would have liked to see Glitter Lamps, to be honest, because the slow is probably going to be more impactful than the polymorph Fish.
So that was an interesting interaction there that not many people see as well. Kallista's auto attacks do not follow into Fog of War. So if you dash into a brush after she throws one out, it will not connect. The only AD carry I believe that does that.
Yeah, weird skill shot auto attack. I've always disliked it. But you can see this is what Benson was talking about. Good shove against mid-range that can't really bully Azir out. Really good scaling. I agree with him on all accounts. His Azir knowledge is very good, Fish.
Oof, get him.
Thunderlords. No. Unfortunately, you can't get double procs at the the Thunderlord proc automatically like you used to be able to. But it's still pretty quick. That was just the base attack speed nerf that came out. Now you'll generally see people go Zerker Greaves on Azir instead of Sork Boots, just for some earlier attack speed. See where the Swiffer gets cheesed here a little bit, as you can see junglers are both already around mid lane.
Yeah, Spook's going to blast cone. Nah, I thought he was going to blast cone to the Krogs. Instead, further into the jungle, moving.
Nah, he caught sight of Juves and saw he hadn't taken Wolf.
Super wants this fight. Double soldiers coming out. Ryoma fairly healthy.
Yeah, Spooks is going to flash.
Oh, Ryoma doesn't flash away. Hands on head for Ryoma. First blood picked up by Spooks.
Yeah, really nicely done. I mean, you could see as soon as Spooks did the do-si-do that he either want the Raptors or the mid lane kill. And given the fact that they engaged so hard, it was going to be the mid lane kill. We've already seen this play out lots of times. He waits for the shield to fall away, then does a lot of the damage. Juves actually sticks with the play this time. So that's much better from the jungler of Sim Gaming.
Really good trade, but Spook says, all right, I'll come back in. Body bop. Might be a solo kill even. Might even flash him. But meanwhile, bottom lane, Egypt's dead. Ray's in trouble.
He's dead as well.
He's going to get locked down. Does have flash, but he's not even going to use it.
He did.
Spear's ripped out. He thought he could outplay it. Double kill bottom lane.
Yeah, that is absolutely massive. Say what you will about what happened in the mid lane. Now the fact that FBI came back to lane without flash, without any of his health bar, and was still able to pick up the kills there, is huge for Sin. That is such a big win for a team that was falling down through the mid lane again.
And Spooks pushes Juice up the jungle. Here's that fight.
Yeah, so let's have a look at it again. Good tag coming up. Looks like Asia might have gone a little bit too aggressive here. Must be what happened. Walks forward, just gets stunned up. I mean, Ejim just died.
Ward in the bush as well.
Yeah, but as simple as it is, Ejim face checked and died when he's probably running too much GP10.
Really good shield from Rogue as well. He's able to block all the damage from FBI and Ejim. Sorry, from Raze and Ejim. Top side of the map, we haven't checked in with this. Going slightly better for Swiper in game 2. He's no longer falling incredibly far behind.
He
First
does,
shot
however, still think that Juves is in his lane.
Yay! Tokla! The cannon minion's about to die. No!
Yeah, it's fine. It's still an okay position for him.
Somewhere in Korea, Atlas is crying.
I think he's actually casting the LCK
he's
final
casting the
right
finals.
now. So I don't know if he is. I think he would be a very happy man. Congratulations to Atlas. First split over there. First year over there, I should say. And able to get the LCK final. That's a pretty big event for him.
So means I miss that guy.
I still talk to him a fair amount, so.
He's unfollowed me on Twitter.
Did he really? Why did he do that? Did you say something to offend him?
It was a stupid
back and forth.
If you do this, I will unfollow you, so I did it.
Of course you did. Yeah, no, that doesn't sound like you at all. It is an Infernal Drake first, so the Chiefs going down in the early game is actually a really massive deal.
One thing I have to comment on is Ryomo's missing a lot of CS. 70.
Oh, what?
Stop it! He has a family!
Yeah, well, you can see that right now. Ejim has the coin going for a quick Ardent Sensor again, and they just keep fighting for some reason. You should be playing back. As T-Gun already said, if you have Ardent Sensor on your 80 carry, you just admit that you're going to lose the lane. They're playing too far up. They use the flashes, they get in there, and Raze just dies one more time. I mean, it's pretty simple execution right there for the Sim Gaming bottom lane. If someone doesn't get down there and help out the Chiefs, they're going to lose so much of their advantage.
So mid lane's the big pressure point for the Chiefs. One kill already picked up there, knocking Ryoma down. He's falling 20 CS behind Swiffer and CS. I know, yes, he's been pressured a lot, but he is missing a lot of this just naturally.
Yeah, he certainly is. I mean, at the same time, 20 CS in the bottom lane is a pretty big deal. That cask is going to absolutely ruin the... Oh, no, it didn't. Cool. What I was going to say is 20 CS is mirrored in the bottom lane, but it's 2 kills, not an assist. So as strong as Swiffer is, FBI is currently much stronger. 1,000 gold is the lead there.
Even top side, that single kill for Spooks on first blood has put him ahead of the Choose by 400 gold, but mid lane, 600 in their advantage. But as you mentioned, 1,100 gold in FBI's favor.
Yep.
Ugh.
Which means that right now they need to do something drastic. Trade in Infernal Dragons for a turret top lane by stacking up a wave. Do something really bizarre that's going to throw them off their game, because otherwise they're not going to be able to fight toe-to-toe with the duo lane. of Callista and Braum, especially when level 6 is achieved, Fish.
Dokola still doing well on the top side here against Swiper. But here's Spooks. Nars him back. Stun locks him, slows him down as well. Will use the Cataclysm. In fact, says, I will fight you. Flash away, Swiper.
Yeah,
and Spooks can't do anything.
Spooks actually nearly killed his top laner there. Because he body slammed into creeps. For no reason, Fish. Got creep blocked a little bit, thought he was past them. He wasn't. And unfortunately, that means that top lane will be hard frozen for Dokola if he wants it to be. He's instead going to push it out. Must be on a crux of an item. And you can see that the lane swap has come through, which is pretty big because Swiper doesn't have ult or flash, so he just might die in this lane swap.
So ward's been placed down by FBI in case they need to teleport, but Dokola's is down. This turret's going to take a lot of damage. Should be the first turret falling for Sin again.
Yeah, looks like it's actually going to fall down. You can see Spook's still top side of the map. Maybe he's going to lend his weight behind that one. We'll be interested to see whether Sin go towards, a dragon as well as a turret and keep the tempo pretty neutral, or whether they just swap back straight away. Raze and Egypt should be able to get this turret because, as we mentioned, Dokola actually had no mana, which is a pretty big deal for Jarvan's wave clear.
Which is why I really like that push from Dokola. If he froze it, that would have been turret already being hit by the Chiefs. Pushing it out, delayed, raising it a bit longer. Let's see what FBI as well as Rogue decides to do next. So they swap back up.
Oh, Rogue, very cheeky, knows that Swiper likes to duck into the jungle and grab some camps for himself. Actually takes away the leash from the Grom.
Bloody Grom Goblin. What else do you want, Swiper? The jungle is not yours.
But they get the Infernal Drake, and this is big deal for Sin because all of a sudden the scaling of Azir gets so much scarier just because of the random RNG of Infernal being first Drake picked up. If it's a next Infernal Dragon and they can continue snowballing some of this gold lead, that will continue to be a win condition they can look for.
Lots of members of Sin posturing around the bottom
Dragon
lane.
next, so no continued snowball going to be achieved at all, Fish.
Unlucky.
Unfortunate.
So turrets fall on both sides of the map. Dokola stays top side. FBI and Rogue will stay on the bottom side of the map. Continue pushing there. Where do Raze and Egypt go now?
I think they have to go back bottom lane. I mean, there's nothing really to accomplish anywhere else.
It's 2 levels behind FBI.
Yeah, he certainly is.
Ouch.
He's not having a great time right now. He had to split the gold also with Spooks, who stuck around for that. He had given up too much of his jungle to not take some experience and gold from that turret. So I like Spooks' call there to make sure that he stays ahead of Juves, because Spooks has been jungling very well this best of 5 so far, Fish.
Yep, he has.
Dokola can't freeze waves anymore because he is a Jarvan, but he stacked it up nicely, which means if they bring in their duo lane right now, they're going to have a huge creep wave. Would like to see Spooks get up there and just toss a cask at it. There's nothing really you can accomplish bottom side. And this might be, once again, the 2-for-1 trade, because the creep wave is better for Sin Gaming, and they've got the Herald on their side of the map. Solo mission coming in for Spooks. Needs to be careful.
Currently, no Juves is on the bottom side. Bing. Chickens.
Got 2 little ones. That's actually not that bad.
FBI, Rogue, and Dokola will work on the top lane outer turret. Raze and Egypt for now alone, but Spooks will join them. So turret trades across the map. Pings already from Sin to go towards the Rift Herald. There are triple control wards around top side wherever, so they'll spot them moving there. But numbers advantage way too strong for them.
Chiefs might actually push through here, though, however, because they see that 2 members peel off, and they can just bring Swiffer to the top lane, and they can try and defend 2v3, and then actually continue to push bottom side. See whether that is going to be the case.
Rogue tags him with his bite, slows him down. Dokola and FBI chunk down this top lane inner turret quite well. Dokola posturing aggressively.
Certainly is, but they need to be careful.
Petrifying gaze, Dokola in trouble. Flag drag out. Turret shot does not follow through. Narrowly avoids death there, but good chunk on the turret. Meanwhile, bottom lane.
Exactly right. However, Juves did get Rift Herald, so as long as they are able to use that proactively on a mid lane turret, this is still a fairly good trade for Sin. I think they just got a little bit too greedy for that top lane.
They're going to get it
still going to look to get it, however. So you're right, Fish. They do trade up in nearly every way.
So Chiefs will take down bottom lane in a first. Trading equally, still good for the Chiefs, but as you mentioned, Rift Herald picked up means Sin have a turret in their back pocket.
But the big thing for me is if Chiefs were going to go towards this game plan, just play the laning phase a little bit more passively. You shouldn't die twice and then trade turrets evenly. I mean, there's 1,000 gold still between FBI and Raze. Oh, 1,500 gold, in fact. That's a BF sword and, like, a long sword, for example. And everywhere else is ahead for the Chiefs, nearly.
Set for top lane, which is 400 in Dokula's favor in a level.
Yep.
Swiper again has been left to the wolves a little bit.
Just being jockeyed around the map a little bit. Dokula's been able to join pushes this time, whereas Swiper's actually had to sit there and defend turrets. Obviously, no, not going to be the best of that. Ejim in a little bit of trouble.
Rogue.
Tagged up, yep. Got his Sightstone before he went for the Ardent Sensor this time around.
Could this
So
be the
delays
adaptation?
his build.
I mean, Raze was falling so far behind. Does it make sense to get it early?
I mean, you always want it as early as possible, because it makes you 2-item power spike or 1-item power spike, pretty much.
Get him.
You can see Dokula has walked a massive creep wave into the bottom side. You can see Sweeper, now moving down there to try and pick some of it up. Hasn't got ulti just yet, will be ticking up. Wonder if that's what he's waiting for to make sure he doesn't get dove.
It's a very similar situation to game 1, but Sin not with a drastic lead.
Yep.
They have the biggest differential, which is FBI.
Herald's been popped mid lane.
Dokula's mid lane as well.
Yep.
Sofa still busy bottom. Ejim's got to be careful. He doesn't have much armor, and he can be dove, but Rift Herald does get a charge in. Good defense from the Chiefs, though, means they probably won't lose this turret.
Yeah, no,
Yet.
not off the first trade. But now, this is one of those areas that you can set up a team fight around mid lane. The Chiefs will feel like they've got a little bit more security than they actually have. And Stokely maybe got out a little bit here.
Fast cone gets him over.
So they need to make sure that they don't throw up a last stand around that mid lane turret that a breath of fresh air would knock down Fish. And once again, Sin have looked very good in this early game. It's not as good as their last early game. They're only 1,000 gold up. But this time, the money is on FBI, and you'd have to say that Razor's carry, even though it scales well, does not scale as well as a Tristana into the late game.
So this turret falls, FBI gets one. Oh, they
Ooh,
tag
Raze might be
Raze.
dead.
He's in a lot of trouble. Blade Ruin King used as well. Stunlock doesn't come through, forces the ultimate out of Raze.
Yeah, because that would have been the stun on that auto attack. So Raze just bites the bullet, burns a cooldown. You can see scratches his head, says, whoa, this game's hard. Didn't expect such an aggressive lane out of FBI and Rogue. You can see FBI was actually checking near the turret. That's one cool thing you can do with Kalista, is check for recalls quite effectively.
Michael Hinginsing is a big Kalista fan.
He is. Best Kalista player in OS, apparently.
I am not. Too many mechanics. Meanwhile, Dokula's getting knocked back in. Flag drags his way out. The rest of his team is there
Still
to
worthwhile.
defend
They shoved them off one side of the split push, and we said last game that the important thing split push-wise is that you're able to nullify at least one half of the map. You can't let all 3 waves continually get pushed in because you just suffocate Fish. So, you know, being able to relieve pressure on one side means that now Swiper can go top lane. He's going to be completely fine up there to shove that one. Probably about to river before the reset comes in. And maybe we'll see some more posturing around Baron, this time with Azir's ultimate to try and keep the Chiefs out.
Third Dragon to spawn will be a Cloud again.
Chiefs have been saved by Dragon. Because the scaling of Azir is much more intimidating than what the scaling of the short-range mage of Cassiopeia is, unless Cassiopeia gets the ideal situation, right? Theoretical DPS is still through the roof. However, I think that when you have a look at how these teamfights will play out, Azir will be more useful at this stage, and it still does good Baron damage, but 3 Infernals would push Azir into the ridiculous category.
But a little bit quiet between Sin and Chiefs for now. This is turning out to be a really good series between the two of them. Not one-sided in any way. Back and forth game 1. Game 2 is relatively close.
Yep, still only 1,400 gold. I mean, the difference between them right now is the 80 carries. And once again, one of them's going to pick up an Infinity Edge at some point in this game. So even though right now the game is looking pretty ordinary out of Raze, as long as he gets towards 3 items as well as an Ardent Sensor, he will do more damage than what the Kalista is able to.
We know the chefs can cook up a storm and delay this game as long as they need to. They did it last match and it worked out. This game a lot easier. They do have Swiffer in the mid lane doing well. Spooks is ahead as well.
Although Swiffer was 20 CS up, and because he was put in the side lane so much to give some farm over to Raze, he is now significantly down.
Swiper is caught up though. He's found some farm elsewhere on the map. Ultimate does come out for Spooks just to stop that wave. Juve says, not like this. Don't like turrets very much.
Yep. Another thing we should probably talk about. Oh, no, we shouldn't.
Good damage on Ryoma. He's going to Flag drag. Slide away. Did a Shurima shuffle. Heals as well to jump out. Turns on the Swiffer.
Yeah, but once again, that was Swiffer's ultimate actually burnt there. So big expenditure. Spooks is being collapsed on. See whether he gets stunned up here.
Not enough. Can't lock him down.
And the Chiefs would take this. The longer that the game just stays here, with the Chiefs farming all of their waves, the better off it is for them. As Ryoma again is getting chased down, although now Juve's in the mid lane. Spooks is also there, however.
He got tagged by the poison, so Juve's forced him run away.
Oh, that was half a second away from being a grounded Juve in a very bad situation. Raze, however.
Oh no, FBI sticks the sticks in him. Couple more autos would have been enough, but can't get in there. As well as the ultimate from Rogue whiffing.
Yeah, gets double summoner spells, however. Exhaust. Oh!
Good flash from Ryoma. Very respectful.
No cask available, however. Juves does have the ulti. We'll look over the wall. Chiefs disengage. Flash for flash there. And this game feels like it's about to break open. You feel one mistake from either of these teams. You know, Ryoma falling down or Raze falling down one more time could actually cost their team major.
Chiefs maybe get mid lane turret here. Jim has to be careful. You can see how much Winter's bite hurts. That's because he has no resistance-based seals or quints on the Lulu. Does have his Ardent Sensor now. But is it going to be enough? Mid lane, our turret did not get pushed down by the Chiefs, so they were not able to capitalize on sending Ryoma back to base.
So what they did instead is they cheated into Fog of War and got 2 recalls off, which are tempo recalls because they obviously had a little bit of money to spend, but also means that FBI and Rogue, who were punishing Raze and Ejim, can't go near that lane at the moment. So I think that that was actually a really smart decision from the Chiefs. Rogue and FBI are playing this so incredibly well that if they don't have pressure somewhere, we'll see a kind of Doppler-esque situation from yesterday, Fish, where if you leave them in a 2v2, pure 2v2 lane, they're just going to get run over the top of. So you have to do little things like cheating into Fog of War, throwing them a gank every now and again, like when Spooks just threw a cask randomly at them, to make sure that they at least know that there's 3 other members on Summoner's Rift that can do some damage if they don't respect them enough.
So Nash's Tooth was picked up by Ryoma.
Oh, he got Sork Boots.
Went Sork Boots instead of Berserker Greaves.
Huh. Normally I see both Nash's Tooth and Berserker Greaves picked up. Obviously Sork Boots do way more damage as the game progresses. So more about the combo at this stage of the game than it will be about that big one spell. Swiper's about to go Mega. See whether he wants to dive in. Swiffer is also here. Got him.
Ooh.
Huge flash.
Good flash away. Swiper going to take quite a bit of damage there. He flashed for that too.
Yep. Flash for a flash, but once again, just showing that you have to respect the rest of our map. Even though you are incredibly ahead, some of our carries are still quite fed. FBI equal to the task though. The grounder was half a second too late. So wasn't able to get that layering of CC perfect. See the Chiefs very nervous about this one.
4 members down
here.
That's
huge.
Oh no, FBI! Why?
They're still
3
chasing.
on 4. Chiefs get the pick they want. Dokla can just walk in a turret, but that's it. That's all he gets for it. Walks a minion wave into a turret.
Yeah, exactly right. And the Chiefs get the pick on the member they must shut down. They can't continue to let FBI absolutely explode on Summoner's Rift. They break some of that confidence, and they're looking... Oh,
Dokla's in trouble.
Swiffer.
Nice. Flags and drags out.
Yep.
So that's what we mentioned in the first game. Picks and bans. FBI's position, it's normally great, but on the off chance he gets caught out doing something like that, where all he had to do was back away, let Dokla split push, send someone from the Chiefs top, he doesn't do it. Steps up to hit a turret and Swix punishes him.
Yeah, but it's the same thing that makes him a confidence player, right? Same thing that when we're like, my God, FBI, killing people twice in lane, absolute superstar, that is the same thing that makes him step towards that turret and say, I can take this fight. So you can't break one without breaking the other, unfortunately, Fish. FBI giveth, FBI taketh away.
He's the Uzi of the OPL?
I would honestly say he is. Doesn't have the weird champion pool that Uzi has. Like, we haven't seen a Lucian pick out of him yet.
Or a Vayne.
Certainly is up there in terms of the ability to mechanically outplay someone in a 1v1. Chiefs want the Baron right now.
Ooh, they do have Cassiopeia, so does a lot of damage to Baron.
Yep.
But not enough control, and they are on red side. Makes it a bit harder to sneak a Baron.
Actually makes it easier.
Really?
As long as you have flash. So what you do is you blast Cone over, you start hitting it, and as long as they have sight of Spooks, they're going to assume nothing is happening right now. Spooks then joins him, and he has the flash.
Sneaky, sneaky.
And this could be the Baron chase.
That's Baron gone.
Maybe not yet. So it takes a long time. So they started to ping it. Spooks is very low.
It's gone.
Yeah, now it's gone.
Cloud Dragon for a Baron. Worth?
Nah,
Worth.
Now Swiffer has to walk the long way around, so they will look for him, but won't get him. And the Chiefs, just like that, they have a 1,000 gold lead somehow, Fish. Don't ask me how.
With Baron Buff to work with.
But they don't. Yeah. I mean, this series has been bonkers so far. Credit to Sin, their early game is seriously impressive, but their mid game against AV and now against the Chiefs has seriously started to fall down a little bit.
So you can see where the gold leads lie. Swiper's now pulled back up.
The gold lead lies on Egypt. So I can answer how, because Braum, unfortunately, is stuck trying to hit creeps, and the more people start grouping up, the less you get your Targon stacks. So many times in solo queue, you'll be running around with Targon stacks. I'm sure that's kind of similar in pro play, whereas Egypt is just running GP10 everywhere.
Yep.
If we allowed him to run it on blues, I'm sure he would have it there as well.
He's got quints and yellows.
Yeah, so all of a sudden, you can see that Egypt is 1,300 gold up over Rogue. And that is going to be things like the Chalice of Harmony, things like the Ardent Sensor that will come out, the repetitive shields. It's just going to help so much. Spooks gets caught, however.
They lock down Spooks. Good damage. Wildgrove comes out. Flag drag in from Dokla, but Sin, they might have to disengage. No! They're committing. Fate's Call throws in a brawl. Pile on in towards the Greg and splits the team with the ultimate.
They can kill Juves.
Forced to flash out so low. Swiffer and Swiper nowhere close to this fight. They're still split pushing.
But they don't want to be anywhere close to this fight, Fish, because all of a sudden you are trying to force down mid lane into Baron buffs. You've just burnt all your big engaged spells apart from Dokla's Cataclysm, and now they can collapse. Ooh,
They get two flashes. Ejim taking some damage. Raze wants to lock him down when his fight doesn't connect.
I mean, once again, a fourth. That is the last one. All of a sudden, Swipers, he's hitting base turrets. He's going to take one down.
The heck?
And if you ever go too deep, the problem is, see that cheeky water around the corner near River on top side? If you go too deep, Swiper just teleports on you. So they're trying to flirt with, can we blow someone up? Can we actually get a clean engage? They can't. Now they're going to lose 3 turrets for it.
Top lane, inner dies. Bottom lane, inhibitor turret dies. Mid lane, outer turret dies as well as the Chiefs knock down structures left, right, and center.
Yeah, and now Swiper joins, and you can see the big Megan arm must be respected. And actually gets Juves.
They've got ultimates as well. Oh, good damage coming up from the Azir. Swiffer's at half health. They're going in. Oh, Gwynter's Bite narrowly misses.
Certainly does. They set up the Azir turret, so this is good. Counter push
Ultimate.
once again. Swiper. Oh!
Swiffer flashes forward. Knock-off from Dokla, and the Lady of the Snakes are dead. Here comes Rima. Shurima shuffling in. But look at Quinny. Raze with the triple. He wants the quadra. Gets it. Pentakill picked up for Raze.
He actually kills himself. He stands underneath the turret, but he's out of his chair. Quinn is absolutely popping off. Raze of the Chiefs gets the pentakill, and the Chiefs will look to break the base again.
What a fantastic match between Sin and the Chiefs. They forced, they tried, they got Swiffer, but Ray stands and delivers.
I
My
mean,
goodness.
that is a hype play if I've ever seen one, and Sin must be demoralized. What do they have to do, Fish, to be able to repel this Chiefs lineup? They got themselves ahead again, and now it is an 8,000 gold lead to the Chiefs.
Some people say, you know, FBI look like the best AD carry. I'll get to that in a bit. Look at that.
Yeah, Swiffer flashes forward. 3 members get hit. He throws them all into Rogue, but they still chase onto it. Triple kill immediately. Ryoma's ulti does absolutely nothing, and Raze just dances forward over and over again. He knows he's dead, knows he can't get away, but he still picks up a penta.
Some people say, you know, FBI looking like best AD carry to split. Cupcake as well as Lost look like the best duo lane, bot lane, but Raze, pentakill after pentakill on this champion. There's a reason why early in this split, no one could give him Zaya.
Exactly right, and now he's got 3 items, Fish. He's going towards what looks like to be a Last Whisperer as well. He's got the Ardent Sensor for the extra attack speed. What was a man that was so far behind is now up in CS, up in kills, and his team is up 7,000 gold. The Chiefs are looking to 2-0 Sin and really stamp their mark on this best of 5.
This feels like game 1 all over again. My goodness. Sin taking control early, bottom lane, Snowball so far ahead. But Swiffer, he held his ground against Ryoma. Spooks did so well in the jungle.
But around the world, we've just seen it. Early games, unless you can really play perfectly, unless you can put the screws in, unless you are as good as the Direwolves, you just can't punish late. RNG won a game where they didn't have base turrets last night. Spoiler alert. They absolutely decimated WE with a Corki pickup, and late game scaling just seems to be king in League of Legends right now. You have to be able to team fight, and Raze is one of the best in the league at it.
certainly is. Now, how do Sin fight their way back into this game? 7,000 gold behind. They've been forcing these fights. But the disengage, the Zaya, the Lulu, the Gragas is so potent in this 1-3-1.
It certainly is. I mean, because of Zaya's ulti, because you're moving and you're untargetable, it's just so hard to lock you down, Fish. It is so hard to be able to tie her up. That's why Jarvan's normally such a good pick into it. But we can see they weren't leading with Dokula, they were leading with Juves, which meant that he always had a situation in which he could get away. Flash nearly back available again. And he's going to start really hurting now. 80% crit chance.
Still no idea how you initiate into this team comp. We've already talked about Gragas and Zaya, but Lulu on top of that. Then you have Cassiopeia, originally picked to be anti-engage, for anti-engage team comps.
I mean, Swiffer flashed forward in the last one, but that petrifying gaze is what you're talking about when you pick Cassiopeia to protect an 80 carry. 3 members stopped dead in their track because Swiffer was able to flash forward. Very clutch timing on that. And now with Cassiopeia, with Zaya, as well as a tank, plus an Ardent Sensor 80 carry, it is nigh impossible to force them off Baron unless you just run at them and fight. And that is exactly what the Chiefs want.
And let's see what the next step is. For now, they're keeping Swiper in the bottom lane. Remember, no inhibitor turrets down there. Cloud Dragon, going to be picked up by Raze. Nice and easy.
Ulti for some reason. He facepalmed. He's laughing. All right, that was a strange... No, we saw it. I don't want to hear it, Fish. We saw it.
Exactly.
However, it is really short cooldown. What has he got? 20, 30% cooldown reduction already at this stage of the game?
2/3 left.
Yeah, it's already nearly back up and available. As long as they don't fight for Baron as soon as it spawns, it should be up and available. However, if they do and they lose, bow your head in shame, Mr. Raze. Ooh, Spooks. He's getting a little bit frisky. He wants a fight.
Very tanky man, the Gragas, especially with Gargoyle Stoneplay picked up.
Yeah.
Big Swip still split pushing.
I mean, and now Sin have to force. This is a really good force from Sin. Obviously, they don't know about Razor's ult, but they do know that Swiffer wasn't there. Their teleport will come in.
Swiper is mega, so he's not going to come in as mini. Spooks jumps in, separates the team. Re-engage coming out from Raze. Spooks pops Gargoyles on top of the Braum ultimate. Moves very slow, but he couldn't rip the sticks out. Swiper
gets
Mega 9 the wall, does get 2. Dokla re-engaging. Ultimate for Raze, not up yet, but the Polymorph locks down Dokla. They're still trying to re-engage. Rogue with the shield. Petrifying Gaze only slows down Sid, and both of them will back off.
Exactly right, but can the Chiefs start up Baron? Are they healthy enough? Do they want to threaten this? Because if multiple members go back, then they will just commit. It was only going to be Dokla, and he teleports back in straight away.
Ultimate for Raze back up now, so that mistake now can be used in their advantage. Let's see if the Chiefs want to reinitiate a fight. Swiper going Mega again soon. No Gnar ultimate. Blue buff, not going to be picked up by Roma. Spook smites that one away. It does have the second proc coming out shortly. Wild Growth wants to Raze.
Yes, Spooks obviously doesn't trust Raze. Knocks him away. Ejim ultimate at the same time. They were very worried about that. One spear from FBI puts Ejim down very low, but with a massive creep wave bottom and Ryoma in base, the Chiefs once again march towards Baron.
Do they know that Ryoma's in base though? Sin can't see anyone from the Chiefs. Spooks now spotted out. Juice, the first target here. Rogue dashing back, puts up a big shield. Successful disengage, but for how long? Ryoma's coming back. Look at the bottom lane wave!
Exactly.
It's an army!
And they maybe have caught out Raze here, however. Flash is available.
Ultimate available as well. Uses both.
Got a big root, but they knock people back, Fish.
Dokla is very low though. He's forced away. Swiffer throws down the grounded. Rogue in trouble. Ultimate does come out from the jungler, but that's going to be go time for Baron, and Sin just watch helplessly as it falls.
Unrelenting pressure from the Chiefs. Never overcommitting, always looking for the disengage. Baron was the objective all along, and they're able to secure their second of the game.
Oof, almost getting bottom lane inhibitor as well for that. Sin get back there in time. That will slowly regenerate its health, but with Baron buff, 9,000 gold lead. Sin, they're putting up a good fight. It's just the gold lead's too drastic.
This is two teams playing at their absolute best right now, Fish. You can see that Sin, they know that one more team fight will cost them this game, but if they're able to nab one, it will reverse this gold swing so substantially. Raze is really the only Chiefs member that is incredibly accelerated. I mean, apart from Agent, who's got like double the gold of anyone else just because of his runes. 3,000 gold up. But everyone else is still relatively close.
He's got more gold than everyone but FBI.
Yeah.
What? He's got more gold than his jungler at the moment.
I'm telling you, GP10. It's a fun way to play support at the end of the game. start of the game, it sucks. Laning phase, not good at all, but you can see that this greedy play out of Egypt in back-to-back games has really paid off for the Chiefs squad.
Certainly has. Accelerating so far ahead on the Lulu pick here.
They go towards the weakened inhibitor, also the Baron inhibitor if they're not able to close out the game this time around.
They force. Locking Spooks down, but Courage of Colossus, he still hasn't taken any of his health damage. Now at half health, many sticks ripped up by FBI. They pull back Rogue though with Fate's Call.
Yeah, certainly do. So we'll see what the Chiefs are able to accomplish. Rapid fire cannon does mean that they get access to that inhibitor. Swiper.
Jump over.
But now they can't engage. I mean, I think Swiper should have just walked a long way, to be honest. So we'll see what the Chiefs want to look for. Mid lane has got an open inhibitor again.
I didn't realize that. This is going to be difficult. Let's see how the Chiefs navigate with the Baron buff. Top lane wave is massive as well.
Certainly is. So the Chiefs have got all their waves set up. Spooks getting some of that health back. Goes in one more time.
Turret put up by
It's
Raze. Raze pops the ultimate. Dokla jumps in, pops his gargoyle. Spooks in trouble.
He goes FBI.
Big cataclysm coming out from Dokla. He will fall for that one though. Petrifying Gaze locks down both carries. Reimer's in trouble. Rogue's jumping to his side. Juice is going to fall down. The Gnar backwards. The Emperor of Shurima has been taken down. And the Chiefs storm onto the Rifts. 3 kills picked up against Sin. They're going for the Nexus.
That'll do it. That'll be game. The Chiefs are going to go up 2-0. This time it's Swiffer. Double target, Petrifying Gaze on both Ryoma and FBI. Enough to pick up the team fight and enough to pick up game 2.
Second Nexus turret is going to fall down. And with that, the Chiefs, 2 games in a row. They come back from early game deficit. They take it to Sin. And they are now at match point.
Redemption is the theme. Sure, Raze would enjoy the pentakill, but how much would Big Swifts and Sammy be enjoying this one? Spooks, the jungler of the Chiefs, with Swiffer. They're kind of the core that brought this team together, Fish. And they're both having terrific best of 5s today.
2 games in a row. Swiper gives the death stare to the camera. The Big Swift stare. Raze was ecstatic in that game, and he's had 2 back-to-back good performances. Not in the early game. His laning phase was atrocious.
Hugs for Ejim and Swiffer as well. Ejim, he's feeling the pressure a little bit. He had a lot of gold, but the Chiefs, they're standing as a unit. You have to say that not one individual is really tying this all together. We've had big plays out of Swiper. We've had Raze pick up a pentakill. We've had Swiffer with huge Petrifying Gazes and 2 very good laning phases back-to-back.
Yep.
I think that all of the Chiefs members really looking promising today.
Certainly is, and it kind of reminds me of yesterday, where, you know, AV playing well as a team, almost took down Sin. Sin, individual performances looking great. The question is it enough going up against the Chiefs? Now, they have to find it within themselves to pick up a reverse sweep if they want to stay in the gauntlet run.
Exactly right, but hey, guess what, Fish? A split ago, well, in this exact situation, everyone was saying, what the heck has happened to the Chiefs? They look like they're a completely different team. They've picked up the first 2 games, and then Sin ran a train over the top of them. I mean, this best of 5 is not over. Jubes, he just has to go find a mirror somewhere. He'll be able to bring this one back for his team, and they're not really that far off.
Deja vu in both series so far. Sin are playing really well against the Chiefs, but it's just not enough to analyze that game a little bit further. Let's send it back to the desk.
Thank you very much, and welcome back to So You Think You Can Reverse Sweep. This is episode 1, season 1. Let's see if we can get into this, because Sin are now down 2 games in this best of 5 series, and Chiefs, you know, they've thrown it before. Will they throw it again? No, let's talk about this game, shall we?
I'm going to be honest. I kind of hope they do, because I want to see it go to 5 games.
Yeah.
The 5-game Sin winning condition.
Yeah.
That's what they need.
5.
They just need to scale for the next 2 hours, and they're all good.
Oh, so this isn't even in-game scaling. This is mental scaling.
So, first thing I want to talk about, before we even get into how Chiefs won, why they won, what are you doing in a scaling lane playing aggressive?
Yeah.
We spoke about it before the game even started because they did the same sort of thing last game. In a scaling lane, you sit back, he has GP10 runes, take your time, get Ardent Sensor. Don't
lose your turret at 8 minutes or whatever, that's fine.
9 minutes.
9 minutes.
9 minutes.
Bit of it, yeah.
But
just scale it out, you say.
Ejim walks forward, gets punted by Braum. Braum didn't even have to use his W as a gap closer. That's generally the way Braum's get you is you pick like Braum Tristana, jump in, Braum W's towards you, and uses a gap it as a pseudo gap closer. It didn't even happen. Ejim just flat out played it poorly. And then Raze burns his flash when he's already dead. So not only did they give away early kills to make the lane difficult, he flashes away, so they then pick up another kill later on and force Chiefs to have to lane swap out, which they did quite well. You do have to lane swap when you're that far behind, get out of the lane, try and move to a place that you're safe. But it made the game so needlessly difficult for them when it didn't need to be, and I hated almost every second of it as an avid Ardent Sensor Lulu player.
Just before we move on, though, I want to ask about that. Is Ray's playing aggressive early on, not because he doesn't know he's going to scale, but because they have that early skirmish, level 1 where Sin lose a couple of summoner spells, and then Ray's probably thinks, look, these guys are behind. I need to use my flash now. I'm going to head in, and then it kind of goes backwards.
It's hard to get into the mind of them and say why they're doing it. That's very possible. But even with the summoner advantage, if you're going to play a scaling lane, you need to be extremely picky with your fights, and it just wasn't a smart fight at the end of the day.
I mean, like, to be fair, right, we did point out at the beginning that, Chiefs is not the best early game team.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Rays did play pretty poorly. I mean, the duo lane played pretty poorly at the beginning, but I mean, they really came back later on into the game, right? This is the second replay that I want to bring up, and that fight right here. I mean, Sin got a pretty decent engage, and then everything kind of went bad because Swiffer dropped a very, very nice miasma onto Brom and what's his name? FBI.
Yes.
And that gave a very, very nice the damage condition, like for
the rest of the team.
For the rest of the team and
clean it
Rays.
up. Yeah.
Especially Rays, because he did not back off.
Yeah.
He did not back off. That's
coward.
the one thing. Like, he's like, all right, hey, I've got my first item. Lulu's got the Ardent Sensor. Let's fight.
Yeah, he's hit his one-item power spike.
Like, instead of, 20 minutes ago, we're like, oh, we have no items, but let's fight. Now we're like, we have items. Hey, we can fight.
So he just wants to fight all the time.
Yeah, they just want to fight.
I do want to highlight in that replay, one thing I love when Xayah players do, he ulted and he went forward. Because he knows he's safe, he knows his team's going to back him up, he goes forward, puts out a lot of damage. I actually think he could have survived. I don't know if everyone was watching his player cam, he jumped up out of his chair screaming.
He's about to take a bow.
Sin might have heard him, I don't know. All right, but he just stood there after the pentakill and died to the tower. Maybe because he jumped up. I don't know. I'll have to ask him. But he probably could have survived as well.
Let's get a ruling on that.
So maybe a little too hypey. Just a little.
Man, well, he's known to pop off. After he gets a pentakill, he likes to declare himself the perfect player.
He gets so many.
And he has said before, earlier on the split, Rays did say, look, I don't mind that my team is making mistakes because it allows me to carry them harder.
Yeah.
Maybe he's saying, look, I don't mind if I make mistakes because it makes it easier for me to carry myself harder. You know what I mean? It's an internal logic thing there. No?
Is it?
No. Let's talk about the draft as we move on through this game. And again, Sin sticking with that Twisted Fate ban. Still looks like they're sticking with this the whole series.
It's hard to fault their pick ban because they're doing so well early game. I'm still not a huge fan of it. I'm not a huge fan of the Morgana ban or the Twisted Fate ban, but again, Bensel's a smart guy. He's obviously done his research and found something out that I haven't. But again, they're doing so well early game that it's hard to fault the draft, except I do not like Azir.
Despite having 26k damage.
Doesn't matter how much damage he did. Sin are an early game team.
Yeah.
They're winning through the early game. Why are you picking a champion that's notorious for doing nothing until 3 items? I'm not a fan of it.
He even went the Void Staff second.
Yep, and
That was,
still not a fan. Still not a fan.
interesting build path.
Put him back on something that's aggressive. Syndra, Zed, Orianna, Talia. Find something that he's played before, he's known for, he's good at. Let him go off early. Don't pick him something that even he was doing quite well, but what he can do is limited by the champion at that point, and I wasn't a fan of it.
So the casters talked about this a little bit during the game, but Azir isn't something we've seen a lot of in the OPL or at all this split or even this year, I don't think. So talk us through, how should you play around Azir then, T-Gun?
Personally, I just say don't do anything until 3 items.
Right, I see.
Kyrus, you might have a better idea about it, but
I mean, you just look to try and extend your team, your laning phase as long as possible.
Yeah.
But then, you look at your comp. You have your Jarvan, you have your Sejuani, you have your Callista, and support Brom.
Yeah.
You're definitely looking to team fight early on. So, I mean, Azir, yeah, you have the Emperor's Divide, you have that Shurima Shuffle, just drifting around, the Summoner's Rift, but you do no damage, right? After all, like you did everything. Like look at there's one point where they initiated on the Gragas. And all Chiefs have to do is lulu all the Gragas.
Yeah,
and
Gragas gets real
Gragas just
big.
gets out with, 70% health.
Yeah.
And then the rest of Sin lineup is just like,
No more kit.
what do we do now? You know?
Guys, we used everything and he didn't die. I don't know, man.
I mean, they ended up losing, I think it was 2 or 3 towers off that
Yeah,
as well,
they-
because
yeah.
Dragons just walked away, and then Chiefs just harassing them, being that pesky little fly, like, hey guys, come fight us again.
The important thing is that Gragas survived. Now, I do want to go back to talking about Raze because we shouted him out in the first game. You were a bit skeptical in the first game. Then you saw him intentionally feed, presumably, in the first bit of the second game, T-Gun. But then he kind of came into his own, like Vicarious said.
Like I said, it might just be because I have really high expectations of him. And the start of that game, I was not feeling good about him, but then by the mid-game, he was making me a believer again. Not because of the pentakill, because of how he was playing. He was playing aggressive, he was playing in your face, with the belief that Ejim would save him, with the belief that he knows how to use his ultimate, not at Dragon in team fights, and save himself from whatever's going to be dealt his way.
Maybe Raze has just been watching this analyst desk every week. We just call AD carries cowards. And he's like, you know what? I don't care if I die 3 times early on. I'm not going to be called a coward, damn it.
If someone is not going to be called a coward that game, it's Swiffer.
Yeah.
That counter engage in mid lane, Swiffer sees his teammate get Sejuani ult and decides, nah. Flashes in Cassiopeia ulti to start the fight.
Which whiffed anyway. I don't think the Cassio ult got anyone.
Doesn't matter. He never dogs the boys.
I think he was the one that got Sejuani ulted. Oh, wait, no, was it?
No,
Nah.
it was
that was a
Nah.
Nah. That was a Nah.
Okay, so let's pivot now and talk about this series going forward, because last split what we saw was Chiefs took the first 2 games and then Sin reverse swept and took the last 3 games. So if that is going to play out again, and presumably the scriptwriters want that to happen, what does Sin need to do to take back this series?
Like the caster said, find a mirror. But in all honesty, mentally reset, look at your draft, think, is there a better way that we can play this? I'm not even sure there is. They're winning early game pretty consistently. So maybe there's something that has to change mid-game in either the communication, the shot calling, the planning. It's hard to say, but for me, if I'm Juves, I'm giving the boys a speech and just saying, we've won early game twice in a row. We did pretty well against Avant yesterday. Just focus on the early game and transitioning that, as opposed to, like Vicarious said, finding a way to throw it 25 minutes every game.
Okay, so one thing that I find with Sin is that, we've talked so much about their early game, and we've talked so much about Chiefs' late game, right? So, the Sin have played not perfectly, but really well in the early game. They played very methodically. They got the bot turret, rotated top, got Rift Herald, they got mid turret, etc., etc. And then when they try to break into the second layer of the turrets, they try to play into Chiefs' game, which is, macro play. You don't really see a lot of flankings going on. You don't really see actually aggressive plays that, Sin is actually known for.
Yeah, we saw that being exemplified in game 1 where they tried to 1-3-1 as opposed to, like you said, what they're known for is just breaking down towers, barreling down a mid lane or a bot lane. And maybe that's where they have to go back to it. I'm not too sure. It's not my sort of play style.
You want to see Sin play the sort of a club style?
I want to see Sin play the Sin style.
Sin style.
You just want to be on the Blitzcrank.
Pretty much. That's my life in a nutshell, all right? Just run up to people, throw my hands at them and punch them. But if Sin can't do that, all right.
That's criminal behavior. Let's be honest. It's absolutely criminal behavior.
Not in League of Legends.
Someone get the cops, please.
Yeah,
come on.
Cops,
We're talking about Blitzcrank.
Well, okay. So then for a team like Sin, Vicarious, if you're coaching these guys, right? If you're there giving them the team speech, the Jews are presumably giving them right now, and you're saying, look, we need to mentally reset, right? Yesterday, they actually took the first 2 games before they went and then dropped the next 2. So they've been at match point before and been able to scale it back. What kind of things are you telling them in terms of a mental reset they need to have going into game 3?
At this point of I would just tell them to not think about the first 2 games because it's not like they got stomped, right?
Yeah.
It's not like they got perfect gamed or anything. They did well. They had a lead. They threw it because they were trying to play into something that they're not used to. They're not comfortable with. So game 3, possibly just look for something comfortable. Play on their comfort champs maybe. Put Dockler on Trundle perhaps.
Yeah.
You don't have to fear the Gnar if you're on Trundle, right?
Yeah.
And then, play the 1-4, play aggressively, let Juice give his motivational speech.
Can I float an idea? Which is, you were saying earlier today, you've watched their games and you think that Sin are doing proactive plays 20 to 25 minutes, and then throwing the game 30 minutes. That's kind of what we've seen. They get a lead early, try a proactive play, and then end up throwing. Is there a play they can go earlier? Is there a go button they can hit or a comp they can get that allows them to hit a trigger at 18 minutes, 16 minutes that allows them to push early and take those leads early and then, win the game from there?
You know what? Just tanks.
Tanks?
Get a lot of tanks. Where's the Alistar? just go in, flash and pulverize, right?
The man behind Chen Xuan recommends Alistar. What a surprise here. What a surprise.
You also need to use the Moobel cow.
Yes.
That's the best skin.
I know Ejim's a huge fan of skins, and that is one of the best in the game is Mooka.
They should bet that skin, hey.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, they did.
No, don't bet that skin.
No.
Okay, fine.
I would not be able to play without that skin. That's not a bettable skin.
All right, well, Chiefs are currently up 2-0 in this best of 5 series. Before we get into the third game, Sarianne has a message about Star Guardians.
Thanks, Hingers. Right, OCE want you to design your very own Star Guardian. Whether it's Sona, Trundle, Misfortune, or Nami, this is a chance for you to reimagine your favourite character in whatever medium you choose. Art, sculpture, fanfiction, or cosplay, it is entirely up to you. For information on how you can enter and what prizes are up for grabs, make sure you head on over to boards.oce.leagueoflegends.com before September 17th. Before we jump into game number 3, we're going to take a look at some highlights from game number 2.
Dead. Ray's in trouble.
He's dead as well.
He's going to get locked down. Does have flash, but he's not even going to use it.
He did.
Spear's ripped out. He thought he could outplay it. Double kill bottom lane.
Yeah, counter push once again. Swiper. Oh!
Swiffer flashes forward. Knock up from Dokla. And the Lady of the Snakes are dead. Here comes Rima. Shurima shuffling in. But look at Quinny. Ray's with the triple. He wants the quadra. Gets it. Penta kill picked up for Ray.
He actually kills himself. He stands underneath the turret, but he's out of his chair. Quinn is absolutely popping off.
Ultimate for Raze, not up yet, but the Polymorph locks down Dokla. They're still trying to re-engage. Rogue with the shield. Petrifying Gaze only slows down Sid, but that's going to be go time for Baron, and Sin just watched helplessly as it falls.
Unrelenting pressure from the Chiefs.
Dokla jumps in, pops his gargoyle, spooks and
goes FBI.
Big cataclysm coming out from Dokla. He will fall for that one though. Petrifying Gaze locks down both carries. Ryma's in trouble. Rogue's jumping to his side. Juice is going to fall down. The Nah backwards. The Emperor of Shurima has been taken down, and the Chiefs storm onto the ribs. 3 kills picked up against Sid. They're going for the Nexus. That second Nexus turret is going to fall down, and with that, the Chiefs 2 games in a row. They come back from an early game deficit. They take it to Sid, and they are now at match point. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. For some reason, Spawn's a little bit tilted
I will tell you why. I will legitimately tell you why. So Fish takes his jacket off while he casts. That's fine. He actually, gets a little bit hot, gets a little bit excited. He's a Hulk. He doesn't want to bust out with the big guns. However, as you can see, he's a little bit disheveled at the moment. He tried to put it back on and somehow got this part of his jacket caught in his sleeve as he did so. And we had stagehands running around, kiddies trying to redress him. Production was do we have to go to a break? What is going on? Can you not dress yourself? Fish, we're professionals. You're making us look bad. Come on, buddy.
Yeah, second time this week. Right, Benji put out a tweet a few days ago that I lost the battle with a sweater. He was absolutely right about that one too. Enough about me struggling to put clothes on. Let's get into this next champion select. Chiefs taking on Sin. Currently, Chiefs are at match point.
Ooh, and Chiefs have chosen blue side.
Ooh, shaking things up.
They have shaken things up.
They're trying to just end the game right here. Or is it Sin that picked
No, Chiefs are higher seed, so they get side selection games 1, 3, and 5.
Curious.
I think that's right, unless League Ops are going to start screaming at me.
Yep.
But I think that this is Mr. Coach Jish changing it up, and it's actually Sin that make the flex. They ban away Gragas from Spooks.
And then Elise. So, let's see what their final ban is going to be. With the Jace, as well as Fiora gone from blue side. Ah!
Makes sense. I mean, they're going to get double counter picks here. If the Chiefs are willing to pick Nah early, Jace does well in it in the laning phase, Fiora does well into it late game, get rid of both of them, and there's really not an answer that I can think of off the top of my head.
Yep, not much you can do.
And guess what? They first pick it.
Nah can be picked up here. Or Rakan.
Oh, Rakan. I reckon that's a risky draft.
This is scary.
We've seen that the Chiefs are very good at scaling, Rakan scales well, but does not pick up Ardent Sensor until potentially third item. So the way I like to play Rakan, I'm a little bit of a Rakan connoisseur at the moment, is double movement speed items. So obviously that's your coin, your Righteous Glory, as well as the red Sightstone. Then you can go Ardent Sensor after that. But you need your 2 movement speeds.
But Sin take away both Callista as well as Cassiopeia very early.
Xayah Rakan is still available. I would expect them to go towards that in this round of picks, as well as potentially a jungle pickup like Jarvan to try and help out against the Cassio.
Xayah Rakan could be picked up here.
And interestingly enough, they stuck to the TF bear, which is a little bit confusing in this game, match point. Because if the Chiefs were going to show it, I don't feel like it's this game. I think the Chiefs have played pretty well standard 2 games in a row.
They have.
So they wouldn't really show something in this game that they hadn't otherwise.
And they lock in Galio.
Yeah, mid lane Galio.
Going
Swiffer's
up
probably
against Spook.
best champion.
Going against random, not Spooks.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I have seen Spooks play Swiffer in mid lane. Every time Spooks kills him, he runs around the gaming house. However, Galio into Cassiopeia is actually a pretty good matchup for Cassio early. Galio really does struggle.
Final pick for Sin could be their support.
Brawl makes a lot of sense.
And that gets locked in. So very similar team comp from Sin. Chiefs, as you mentioned, shaking things up.
So Braum's a good lane counter here because of the Xayah. I think Braum is actually a bad late game counter because he has to stand in front of FBI to protect him. And that just allows Ejim's job to become incredibly easy. And Ejim and Swiffer together can gain free access to the backline whenever the heck they want.
Sure can. The Chiefs, though, 3 bans towards Dokla.
Make it a 4th. Just keep going, boys.
So red side Sin, ban all the split pushes. Renekton and Nar taken off the table for Sin. That top lane champion pool is getting rather thin.
It's getting very thin. Actually, it's not. Rumble, Jarvan, Kled. There's still like 3 of them left. What else have we seen? That's all, really.
Nothing much else. Trundle.
Trundle. There we go. Another
That's
split
banned out as
pusher.
well. So Jarvan probably the pick here from Sin.
Has to be. It's the last real flex left.
Flexing in the final position looks good. Maybe the Chiefs want this. Maybe they're trying to push Sin towards a Jarvan pickup.
So they can take the Kled, you reckon?
Or the Sin throw the gauntlet and say, you know what, we'll go Kled instead.
Nah, I don't think Dokal plays Kled. I haven't seen him play it.
Neither have I, but it is Jarvan picked up. Still flex between Jews and Dokla.
Do they really throw the spanner in the work and put the Galio top lane?
Ooh. He should have an alright matchup as a Jarvan early.
Yep.
Later on, maybe not. But let's see. Chiefs now have to show the hand. What are they trying to accomplish with this draft?
Sejuani Rumble.
Was
what?
the first lock in.
Mr. Brandon Holland just said. Mr. Swiper just said Sejuani Rumble. So there we go.
Mac is locked in, so extra magic damage from the Rumble top side with Sejuani.
And I just gave away my secret of how I actually guess a lot of the drafts.
Read the lips.
Is I just actually sit there and look at what people are saying.
But Camille, the final pick for Sin. So Dokla on a split pushing champion.
They banned away all of them. Somehow Camille still got through. Probably, I would say after all the nerfs, unless you're a really phenomenal Camille player, I would say she is the worst split pusher out of all of the ones that were banned.
But let's see. Dokla.
You guys, once again, Fish has done it. He's eating some sushi at the moment.
Going away.
So he's hitting his cough button, and then I stopped talking. So he looked at me, and I was like, yeah, you can talk. So then he talked with the cough button down. So you guys didn't hear.
I didn't say anything.
Yeah,
Solon
sure
is,
you didn't.
making
We've
up
got a camera
tales.
on us right now, mate.
As that camera's not recording, I've been told.
I will call for the full 12 rounds to be released.
But yes, Camille picked up by Dokla. He did win 2 games for Sin yesterday on split pushing champions.
Yep, certainly did. And this should be an interesting game because we have, once again, a big team fighting comp out of the Chiefs, but maybe slightly less able to win the split push this time around.
Thank goodness.
However,
back on us.
it will be a little bit easier for them to get through laning phase. I feel like with the exception of mid lane, Chiefs have some pretty good lanes here right now.
Me too. And again, all 3 games, Chiefs saying, you know what? We're going to team fight. Oh,
One more.
He's a confident man, Big Swips. Bumped into him in the hall. Just before we went into game number 2, you just gave me the nod. That's it.
That's
Nothing
it.
else.
IWNL.
Just the nod.
Are you on his Snapchat list? I think I ask you this all the time.
No, I'm not on his Snapchat list, unfortunately. But I have seen his snaps because he puts them on Instagram as well.
He certainly does. He's a big fan of the I will not lose.
He's lost a lot of weight. Looking really strong now, Big Swips.
Yeah, honestly, if we talk about something not League of Legends for a second, he goes to the gym every single day, as do a lot of people in the OPL, but certainly have seen a transformation in him.
Juice as well over the years. Big transformation there. Looking really good. As Juves kicks the air. Yeah, get him!
Hopefully no Juves combos coming out here. Goes E, then Q.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Now Q, go.
He doesn't have it yet.
Oh,
Come on, you
unlucky.
muppet.
If you don't have the talent to fight,
Camille, strange champion, has really good auto attack trades, obviously with double reset in the kit on one ability, as well as the fact that you can take the brief window whilst you have to shield up against magic damage when Rumble starts hitting you.
It's a good brawl on the top side of the map. And we've seen teams use it to team fight to some success.
Yeah, Direwolf's especially a good Camille team fighter. Harbu, when he played it, pretty much just split pushed for the whole game from memory. This Tally had a game on it this split. He had a game on it last split against the Chiefs where he took their whole base before anyone really responded and then won them the game regardless.
Yeah, but when Camille was released, she was terrifying. I had to play against Chippy's Camille 1 week after it was released.
Okay,
I
why
was
did you
on
ban
Remington. I did not get a ban. That was back when you only had 3 bans in solo queue and I was last pick. I had Rusty on my squad.
I blame you guys then.
I stopped playing League of Legends
Super
for 2
Leash,
weeks.
actually, for Spooks here.
Gets all the Raptors.
So he's going to race topside.
All the mini Raptors, I should say.
Yep, so it looked like Swiffer actually Q and then auto attack them. That's the best leash you can get nearly in the game for the Raptors, because obviously double AoE abilities, as well as the fact that it does not take any. It's guaranteed to not take any.
Ooh, good trade from Swiper there.
Dokla is in a little bit of hot water here. You can see Juve's actually jungling very quickly as well, so that's not all bad news.
Spooks is on his way. They watered this, and they know it's started. Juves has not leashed us into the bush.
They know Juves is very low, however.
Almost, but Spooks not quite.
Will, however, go towards Raptors, it looks like, Fish. So see whether Juves actually contests him here.
He's waiting in the bush. Blast cone over. Now going to get locked out. Stun comes out. Good damage from Spooks. Juves, he's going to be forced away here.
Oh, he might be first blooded.
Flag drag
Oh,
away.
he's dead.
Red buff. First blood picked up by Spooks.
What great pathing out of Spooks. Able to pick up a solo kill in the jungle. Juve still had flash and everything available and still falls down. A little bit unfortunate now. He'll lose the entirety of the top side of his jungle if Spooks wants to stick around for this one. It's going to put a lot of pressure on Dokla as well.
Goodness.
See that Swiper is just burning him in the creep wave.
You have to remember the magic shield that Dokla gets.
Although
is only when he auto
overconfidence
attacks.
can be a little bit of a dangerous thing. Fish, let's go with that. I had a different saying set up, but...
No, Juves going to get locked down again by Spooks.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden Swiper's under the turret. Needs to be careful
Ooh.
with... Oh, he's overheating. He's going to kill him as well.
Dokla almost dies. Oh no, Swiper, don't do that. Swiper, no.
Death by a touch has actually just killed the top laner of the Chiefs. Spooks has to flash on Juves.
Gets
one more auto.
Bing. Bop him. No, Juves, don't do that.
No,
Oh,
Spooks
no.
is dead as well. This is
is
disastrous for the Chiefs. They've just given Dokla 2 kills and double buff.
And they're fighting bottom lane as well. What the heck? Why is it every time in the OPL that dive just goes horribly wrong?
Yeah, they just shouldn't have gone for it. They got everything they wanted. They would have been able to force Dokla back. He had no health, no mana left available. Spooks had taken away the entire top side of the jungle. Now all of a sudden, they give an assist over to Juves, and they give a 2-kill gold lead to Dokla, who is absolutely massive. I'm having flashback of flares right now.
He's got double buff. Oh, this is disgusting. He's going to go back to base, shop. I wonder how much gold he has to spend.
1200, he's going to come back with a Sheen.
My goodness, that's a disaster.
So now the pressure is on Spooks to get level 6 as soon as possible and go peg and ult at Dokla. That's literally what he has to do. In saying that, oh, he doesn't get a Sheen. He goes for the wave clear.
Team up.
So worried about being pushed in. I feel like I'm not a great Camille player, and I haven't seen a lot of it in pro play. However, Chippies, I'm sure you're watching. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like when you're ahead, Sheen is the usual pickup.
Tiamat still gives you that auto attack reset. It can help a lot with damage and base AD as well.
You can see that Spooks was trying to come into the bottom lane, did run over a ward there.
Ouch. Stop it. Dokla. Don't hurt the poor guy.
However, that's a winning trade for Swiper.
Swiper's trading quite well.
Ryoma heading up top lane with 3 members. Swiper, you have to get out. There's 3 of them there. Swiffer trying to race towards level 6 potentially.
Ryoma does go back.
So Swiffer got level 6, which means this play becomes a little bit harder to execute upon here.
Yep. Spix hits level 5 in the jungle. Juice is trying to take away Gromp. Oh no, Raze. Tagged up by Winter's Bite. Good knock up from Ejim. Here we go. Galio in the bottom lane. Forces a flash out of FBI. They knock up Rogue. But no more shield from him, and not enough range from Swiffer.
Yeah, get the flash out of FBI. Potentially a return gate can come out, especially if Spooks gets level 6. However, Sin still hold on to their lead. Ooh!
Up you go. Ignites down, and FBI's dead. Redemption for the bottom lane of the Chiefs.
I mean, they cheated. They brought an extra member down. I still feel like Sin. That would feel a little bit cheesed in that one again. However, does get the kill on over to Raze and gives them a strong part of the map. You know, we already said that top lane's going to get a little bit harder now, given the fact that Dokla was able to grab those 2 early kills in the double buff. Big Swips has done all right. He gets himself, you know, a little bit of a gold lead. Dokla looking to freeze that wave now. See whether Swiper actually teleports back to the wave. It's not going to actually freeze. He only left 3 caster creeps there, so it will push back. Turns out he's pretty good at the game.
Blue buff is started here by Spooks.
Needs
Wants
to
to
be
give it
smarted
to
by him.
Juves doesn't have his own smite. Wins a ward, gets it. Now they're trying to collapse. Spooks taking quite a bit of damage. Flash, ultimate coming out from the Snake Lady. They get 1.
They might get 2 here.
Swiffer's in trouble. Does have flash. Taunt comes through. FBI's here with the slow. Flashes to Ejim. No one follows through. So they will get the blue buff, but Spooks dies for it.
Yeah, so a risky invade because Ejim had stuck around a little bit quicker out of the gates, actually. He'd gone back and picked up the boots 3, or boots 5, whatever you want to call them. Whereas on the other end, talk about that later.
On top of Smiper, good damage. Oh no, cancelled the auto attack. That's a big chunk of damage coming out from the W.
Yeah, it certainly is, but you can see 3 members heading into Swiper's jungle. Doesn't have the ultimate to drop, has already dropped it on one of the last creep waves fish. So needs Spooks to come into his lane and help him out.
You can see Swiper playing so far away from the turret. Spooks now on his way. Rogue and FBI still posturing aggressively. Pushes back in as the turret collapses, and Dokla just jumps away.
I actually like how respectively Swiper has played both games 1 and 3 when it's come to turret dives. He's known that one of the ways these guys win the game is by Dokla getting incredibly far ahead. And whilst Dokla played game 4 very well yesterday, to die 6 times in a one-on-one situation, the other top laner has to have done something wrong, Fish. And you could see that as soon as Spooks checked his jungles for him, Swiper was happy to walk back towards the turret and happy to start CSing. We always call Rumble a low econ top laner. That doesn't mean he doesn't like having gold. He does better with gold than without. Every champion in the game does. There is no champion in the game it is better to not have gold on. However, he does quite fine with low amounts as long as he gets towards a couple of penetration items.
And Equalizer is a big ability as well. Dokla, however, needs to pick up gold on the split pushing champion. You have to expect 2 items come around, and it's very difficult for them for Swiper to take him on.
I actually kind of like the fact that Spooks hasn't forced the issue top lane as well. I said that, you know, you kind of owe a gank if you give over double buff when level 6 hits. Spooks hasn't subscribed to that theory. Instead, he's just said, I can pressure other parts of the map. I'm going to continue trying to beat Juves around. You can see 18 CS is the lead. Not really an experienced lead, however, so you don't really know if that's going to eventuate him much. But they put 4 members down into bottom lane. Swiffer was in ulti territory. Spooks in a little bit of trouble now.
Taking some damage, but perfectly fine. That turret down to half health now. Juice wanted to make his way into the bottom lane, but cut off by Ejim and Spooks.
And now we're seeing kind of what Sim were talking about. When Benzel said Twisted Fate gives them a way out of some of their early game mistakes, I think that they mean the over-aggressiveness in the bottom lane, because you can see once again, Raze actually had to flash, but they're going in for this one.
Spooks throws out the ultimate, flashes for it as well. FBI gets locked down, no flash available for him. Charm comes out of Ejim as well as a knock-up, and FBI dies. Rogue is going to be able to survive, but as you're right, Swiffer's dead. Juves did interrupt his teleport, gets a kill, 1 for 1.
Yeah, exactly right. So that was Swiffer's teleport going off, not Swiper's. Wanted to be the first one there. You can see that they caught him during the act, and that means that he will fall down. However, first turret might fall in the bottom lane if the Chiefs decide to stick around. Single gold over to Raze for this turret is huge. We've already seen what he can do on this champion when he's down how much gold? All of a sudden, he is going to start accelerating in this game.
XD. Raze snowballing ahead. Swiper slightly behind top side, but doing okay against Dokla for now. In fact, taking it to it there.
I mean,
shot comes through.
The other thing is that Swiper has been... We expect solo carry Swiper to come out sometime. This game, he just walked mid lane, dropped an equalizer on mid, made sure they couldn't match the turret pressure. Swiffer had already fallen down, trying to do the team thing and teleporting in, so Swiper covered his lane for a little bit, gave up some pressure topside, but he knows that the only way Dokla gets out of control is to continue to kill him, and he's not letting that happen.
So Chiefs now 700 golden lead in game 3. Their first early game lead against Sin.
See if the reverse happens. This is what I'm excited about. No, we kept talking about Sin's early game, and oh, Dokla might look to be engaged here.
It's a low sweep, but not much damage. Needed the knock up.
That's through a Hex Drinker fish.
It's painful. He's going back in.
Got Jarvan here.
Spotted out by a ward, and Swiper's okay. He's 2 levels up over Juves. Split's going to use this time to take down a Mountain Dragon.
Juves, on the other hand, going to look towards a Rift Herald again. I believe in all 3 games, Sin has got Rift Herald.
Yep.
Probably a good thing for the Chiefs. They haven't been able to embarrass themselves for the objective today. Although they might look to fight this one. They've just spotted it out, 3,000 health. Or maybe they just look for priority over the mid lane instead, Fish.
So, the rest of the Chiefs running through mid lane. Juice being spotted out. That mid lane turret's going to fall. No one from the Chiefs, from Sin can get there in time.
Look at Juice. He wants something here. Teleport can come in from behind them. They're waiting for the overstay, but it did not happen. So Ejim had a ward in that Raptor camp and knew exactly where they were. That's why the Chiefs were sitting so far towards bottom side of mid. We're going to see, once again, Swiffer try and pick himself up the enemy blue buff.
Much better.
He's wall stuck between Bristle and the wall.
Much better early game from the Chiefs, though. This is kind of what we expected from them throughout this series.
But this is the first time they've picked for early game, right? As T-Gun said, when you grab yourself an Ardent Sensor 80 carry and the Ardent Sensor support, you're expecting to fall behind a little bit. I don't think it was this much. You can see right now that their Sin Gaming lineup has stacked on top side of the map. They're trying to take a blue as well as top lane turret. Split objective focus could cost them.
Here comes Superman. Jumps down. Juice gets uppercutted and taken down. Ultimate thrown towards Ryoma. Good ultimate from the Snake Lady. But just running over the equalizer. I'm a snake. Follow me. We'll die. Swiper gets that kill.
Yeah, and as I said, split focus on objective. Do we want the blue buff? Do we want top lane turret? In the end, you get both of them, but you lose 2 members. And with a couple of people dead, this all of a sudden means the Chiefs can maybe look to answer in the top lane. Although Dokla gets a lot of damage down here, Fish, so could be a couple of turrets going over to Sin as well.
Dokla wants it, but Swiper's here. He'll be able to push out this wave, and
no ultimate available for Swiper, so he can't play too aggressive. Here we go. Oh, Swiffer, that's a wall. I said it was his most played champion. I didn't say it was his best.
Rogue's in trouble here. Knock up from Ejim. Gets behind him, gets FBI as well. Forces the ultimate out of Rogue. Red buff.
Juve's got it. All right. Juve just walks in and says, get your stinking paws of my
He outsmarted Levi.
Spooks didn't have smite, you idiot.
He outsmarted Levi still.
He did. That is a factual statement, Fuchs. Fish.
But I'm really impressed with Swiper in this match. We've already said that he's trying to become a carry for the Chiefs. He stepped up. This is a really good laning phase for him.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, especially given the fact that he was against double buff. The impressive thing for me is if you guys go back and rewind this game, I didn't mention it, but maybe we have half a second before Juves dies. No, we don't. All right. Juice has to be able to flag drag out. Gets it.
Get him! Oh.
Yeah, so what I was going to say is a little thing. When Dokler got double buffs, Swiper didn't rage teleport back to lane. What I mean by that is most of the time when people die, they instantly shop, they wait for themselves to come back alive in solo queue, then they just instantly teleport back to lane, you know? I can't miss anything, I'm already so far behind. What that does is it means you have to fight the person with double buffs for the maximum duration, which sucks. What Swiper did is he let one wave crash, walked back topside, and then he could have, if he needed to, also backed away and got a second recall during the double buff duration to be able to fight Dokler if it had been needed. It wasn't needed this game, but because he kept his TP, that was the potential play on the cards, which is pretty impressive when you think about it.
And he's 10 CS up over Dokler. So that kill, practically even now, topside map, with 3 turrets picked up as well.
Yeah, definitely the turrets doing majority of that heavy lifting. See Juice trying to give a helping hand to Dokler with a deep Rift Herald.
Run, Harold.
Thought we had this conversation yesterday.
Run, Helga.
There we go. Chiefs potentially looking for an engage in mid lane. You can see Swiffer cheating into Fog of War, trying to get the ulti out.
It's a much slower game though. We saw a lot of action early, but now mid game.
I mean, 10 kills in 16 minutes isn't bad.
It's still very... Oh, Helga.
Didn't even get to hit a turret.
Had one purpose on the Rift. Couldn't do it. Unlucky. But as this game goes on, Swipers can continue split pushing. It looks like the Chiefs are going to settle to group up in the mid lane.
Yep, the Chiefs actually have a really cool 1-3-1 in the fact that it doesn't pressure turrets well, but it pushes turrets pushes waves very quickly, then threatens these kinds of collapses. So you can see Ejim, if he wanted to, could have ultied engaged straight away.
Ooh, one-on-one bottom lane. Dokler gonna jump out of his ultimate. Swiffer lends a helping hand, flashes on him. Swiper's tanking up the turret, jumps away. Dokler will get the knockback onto Swiffer. He will die. Everyone from the Chiefs collapsing in underneath this inner turret, but no one else from Sin is here to fight.
And that's what I said, their collapse is so quick. Swiffer wants in again. This time they're gonna fight.
Bryce Ejim Paul jumps in the backlines, gets a nice knock up, charms up 3, keeps some health there for a while. He'll die, but look at Raze. He gets 1 kill. The rest of Sin want to collapse, but they just can't.
Yeah, exactly right. Chiefs get the 2-for-1 special, pick up a turret on the way out as well. And it just looks like Sin are playing too far from the back foot. They've fallen behind in the early game. Chiefs have already shown that in this series today, they are the better team fighters. And for the first time in a split in a little bit, the Chiefs are looking to actually beat a top 4 OPL team in a best-of series, Fish.
They want to send this to the El Clasico. Swan, Chiefs versus Legacy, if they can get the victory here today. Dokler falls here and the Chiefs collapse nicely.
Yeah, they certainly do. I mean, they're just willing to burn a little bit more. They burn double flashes to pick up the initial kill. Also an ult there. But the big thing for me is just the fact of the Chiefs' team comp collapses quicker. They've got control over the forest area. They've got teleport that can come in from both Swiper as well as Swiffer, and the Justice entrance, the grand entrance. Sure, a little bit too far from Ejim in my opinion, but he did keep them away from the turret for a very long time, Fish, and it meant that Raze could chase down another kill.
Very flashy from Raze. Literally jumps over the fat part of the wall, chases down Juice, gets the kill for himself.
Yep.
Make sure that Ejim's sacrifice is not in vain. Now 5,000 gold lead for the Chiefs with double Mountain Dragon.
And Ejim has been in 7 of the 8 kills at the moment, as has Spook.
Oh no, he's about to win the Rakan war on Rakan.
He certainly is.
Or Rogue. He's not going to be able to use the only skin Rakan has at the moment.
Cosmic Dawn Rakan up for grabs, as well as the fact that I think Shockblade Z plus Chromas was also on this game. That's going to hurt solo queue more than it hurts competitive play. It really is going to.
I mean,
they're hoping
gives
for
them +1 dex, so...
I mean, Ryom is hoping for a huge Z nerf to come in, just so it's an empty victory for Chiefs.
Probably not going to happen anytime soon. But it's now 6,000 gold lead for the Chiefs. Baron's going to spawn in 30 seconds as well. This is a much more clinical game.
This is how we thought Chiefs were going to play, actually,
Yes.
Fish. You know, get ahead early in lanes, continue to bully around, be the slow, methodical, patient team that we're used to seeing in their best of 5s. And I think that if you're Direwolves on Legacy, you don't get you know, scared of this, but you think we're going to have to play the Chiefs at least playing their game now. Not the sloppy Chiefs that we've seen during regular season. Still going to be very close for all the teams, but Chiefs are proving that they're back to playing at their best in League of Legends.
And even if Chiefs get a sweep here today, 3-0, hats off to Sin. They played their hearts out game 1 and 2. In game 3, they're trying to stay in it now. Very far behind, but good early games again.
Yeah, I mean, they're the people's team, Sin. No one likes watching Sin lose. Like, normally, if you're a fan of another team, like you're a fan of the Chiefs, you generally like watching them pump other teams. I genuinely think Sin are a fantastic organization. I think that they've put this year together with a couple of rookies, and they should really celebrate the success they've had. Even if it ends here, which it might not because it's still only 20 minutes into Game 3, and the clean sweep is going to be hard to achieve for Chiefs. They should definitely be proud of their first international tournament this year, as well as how far they've come as a team.
I'm excited to see more from these players, especially the legacy players of FBI and Roma. After this split, so to speak.
Yep.
Here we go. Ejim wants the big initiation, gets Juves around the miasma for the triple charm and knockup. What the heck? Ben Rakan against this man. Great equalizer. Big talk coming out from Swiffer as well. One by one, Sin are going to fall, and that could potentially be game spawn. Ryma's going to jump down as well. Dokla is trying to do something in the back lines. Swiffer somehow lives, gets a heal as well. 4 kills picked up by the Chiefs.
Yeah, and they're flashing over the wall. Dokla will fall as well eventually, and it's just not enough. Sin give it their all, but the Chiefs are going to be able to pick up the first inhibitor. Death time is still very low, but they're looking to end. Swiffer wants a recall as well as a teleport. I think they just might go towards Baronfish.
Potentially. Swiffer's gone back to base, so I thought he was going to teleport in towards the Nexus, but with Jews respawning, FBI coming up now.
I actually think they're too low for anything. I think that the right call is to reset for Vision. That was a very good team fight. It's now 10,000 gold, the lead for the Chiefs Esports Club. And you're right. I mean, he's terrifying. Ejim's Rakan. He gets hit up here. Miasma doesn't stop him. Gets into the backline. Gets 3. Has to force the cleanse as well as a flash out of Ryoma so he doesn't get hit by that grand entrance. But if you're going to let through Galio, you got to ban Rakan, because how easy was that for Swiffer to just disrupt the whole of the backline?
And if you don't believe that Swiper is now a carry player top side of the map, just go watch that team fight again. He had a fantastic equalizer. Comboed out with Swiffer fantastically for the taunt as well. And the Chiefs are on fire. 10,000 gold up, 22 minutes into the game.
Yeah, exactly right. You can see how confident they are. They're just moving through the jungle right now of Sin, looking for any opportunity they can find to take another pick. Oh, he's already mad-lifed him.
Oh, no.
It feels bad, man. Obviously, it's much easier with Flag and Drag than it is with Flash, because you can just W to the flag, but that was very nicely played by Ejim nonetheless.
Barrett has now been started by the Chief. Juves, he's still calling some shots, but hands on his head right now. He knows this is a dire situation.
Certainly does, on the verge of being swept out of the OPL Gauntlet. Dokla still split pushing bottom. Will Garrett his second turret of the game. Certainly not the carry performance that we saw out of the young man yesterday, but still a fairly decent series nonetheless, Fish. And the Chiefs, I mean, this is all about redemption. This is a team that people were saying were past it, were washed up, not even top 4 team. To storm into the Gauntlet like this has got to lift their spirits, has got to give them hopes that they can go to Worlds this year, at least to secure that legacy that they have in the OPL.
And they want to end it right here. Look at Ejim go again, straight in the back lines. Everyone dies to this equalizer, and that's all over. With 3 members dead, Baron buff and minions in the base, Juves just dances.
Now, I mean, there's nothing else you can do. Raze is going to look for a cheeky kill, but it will be the Chiefs just picking up the Nexus turrets, and they're going to book El Clasico tomorrow with Legacy.
Chiefs versus Legacy coming up tomorrow. They've done it 3-0 for the Chiefs. They want to represent Oceania, and they're going to try and fight their way through the Gauntlet.
Couple of wry smiles on their face. Couple of head pats, couple of hugs. Chiefs not looking too jubilant. They know that they have to get through another best of 5 with their old-time foes, Legacy. Then, if they do get through, or if Legacy does, Direwolves. I mean, how good is it as the Direwolves? You just sit at home, Fish. You probably fire up this. Tomorrow you watch the McGregor versus Mayweather fight, then you probably watch a little bit of OPL as well. and then you're enjoying it. You're thinking they have to come at us next Saturday after showing all of these drafts.
I just realized how much of a treat tomorrow it is going to be. Conor versus Floyd Mayweather, and then Chiefs versus Legacy. What a day. That's for Sin.
That's shattering, honestly.
That's got to hurt. I mean, games 1 and 2, how well they performed.
I mean, Sin fans, get on Twitter. Let your team know how much you love them because they've had a very good split. They're legitimate contenders. It didn't go their way today, but that is not a series indicative of just how good Sim Gaming is.
You give them another day, you give them another series, you could definitely see different results from Sin.
100%. However, today is what counts. And congratulations to the Chiefs Esports Club. They came in today. They took care of business. We already said in the gauntlet, it is so important to be able to clean up the teams early on in very quick fashion. You don't want to give anything away. And today, Chiefs did exactly that.
And that must give them such a big boost. You can see Juves just looks absolutely shattered. Hugs all around from everybody.
Yeah, they're actually really good friends, these two teams. I mean, that's why the banter is always so fun when they play against each other. Obviously, they want to win. No one wants to lose in League of Legends, Fish. Losing sucks. However, unfortunately, that is the case.
Yeah, Chiefs were just a better team here today, and they will go up against Legacy tomorrow. El Clasico, the best of 5 series. For now, though, to round up the game, round up the day, let's send it back to the analyst desk.
Thank you, Fish. Thank you, Spawn. And Chiefs victorious today, 3-0 over Sin. No reverse sweep, and Chiefs will face Legacy tomorrow. But curious, just very quickly before we go to the interviews, give me your thoughts on that final match.
That was just clean from the Chiefs. Like, they've got a very good team comp. It's actually a 2-man comp in Rakan and Galio. Rakan goes in, Galio, GG.
Yeah. Tegan?
Spot on. I don't know how they got Rakan Zaya, but that's exactly what happened. Rakan goes in, scoops up 4 of them. Galio comes in, saves the day, puts them all in the air, and there's nothing Sin can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And for Sin, Spawn was shouting at their praises during that game. They've built so much this year, and this team has gone to Rift Rivals. They've gone internationally for the first time. Did OS proud, did the OPL proud.
Absolutely.
Came back and put up a fight today in the early game of both of those first 2 matches. In the third as well, but unfortunately not enough today. Standing by with Serian right now is top laner for the victorious Chief Swiper. So let's check in with them for the interview.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm here with Big Swips. He said he wasn't going to lose, and he didn't. How confident were you heading into this series, and were you expecting it to be such a swift 3-0?
I mean, we've had a shaky split, but like I think our practice this week has been really productive, and yeah, like I've been more proud of the boys, and like we're all super pumped going in tomorrow, and yeah, we're going to Worlds. We are.
You had that amazing play in game 1 where you flash and altered into Sin. What was running through the team comms when you realised you could turn the game around right there and then?
I mean, I do that play every game, so like whenever we're on Nah, like you see me coming in, I'm coming with a big sweeps ult. So nah, don't give me Nah, don't give me Nah.
This has been called your redemption split. Can you talk to us about what it would mean to you to be able to make it to the grand finals?
I mean, we view this split as sort of our one of our last hurrahs. So like all of us want Worlds really badly, and like there's nothing else other than like the Worlds is on our eyes, and there's nothing else. So like we're gonna give it our all, and hopefully we win.
Well, congratulations on today's win, Swiper, and thanks for talking to us.
Thanks.
There we go. Ban Nah is the message coming out of Big Swips after that performance today. 3 games, and I mean, look, there's been a lot of ban champion memes throwing around today, but I feel like Swiper's Nah is up there.
Definitely. I mean, at first we all said like Chiefs is looking to get Swiper on the Nah because that's one of the reasons they pick Red Side, right? And I mean, game 1, game 2, huge Nah plays.
Well, Tally plays Lucian, doesn't he?
Yeah, don't think we'll see it.
No?
But definitely there. It's one of those champions where it, at least in my eyes, it never feels ban-worthy, but it always feels important. So I'm not sure how Legacy will look to deal with it, but it's definitely a question left for them. But with all the other things they might have to ban, Sin showed today, TF and Morgana might be issues. Hard to weigh the priorities.
No, I'm saying it right now. You know, Big Brain Lucio, he watched today, he watched versus the Direwolves last week. He's like, Tally, get on that Lucian now. We're making it happen. Anyway, standing by with Sarian right now is jungler for the Chiefs Spooks. So let's check in with them after that victory.
Thanks, guys. I'm standing here with Spooks. Congratulations on the win. The Chiefs roster has been together for so long now, except for Rays, and you've had so much domestic and international experience. Do you feel as though that works in your favour coming into such a stressful situation like the Gauntlet?
I think I'd say yes and no. I think we've had some problems, especially last split, where like I feel like that having that experience has been like made us kind of overthink every game, and we're kind of toning it back and taking like I guess a more simple approach to our matches now. I think there is an aspect of like being a rookie and having nothing to lose, where like people feel I guess a bit more free to move. But no, like I think right now we're in a really good mindset for Gauntlet.
We had some shaky moments this split as well, including the whole Rift Herald saga. But do you feel as though the team's found their footing and it's starting to come back together again?
Yeah, look, I've got E-Gym's got my back on the Rift Herald. I obviously can't manage it. It's just too hard. It's like when I play Lee Sin, you know, I got a few things that I need to fix. But no, you know what? My team's got my back through my flaws, and hopefully I've got their backs through theirs. So.
Tomorrow you'll be going up against Legacy. Have you got any thoughts heading into that match?
I think with Legacy, it's obviously a lot different to playing Sin, because Sin are like a lot more dynamic early, and they rely. I'd say they're a bit more reliant on snowballing early, whereas Legacy is almost the opposite. They're like very slow early game. They're very methodical, so I think it's gonna be on our terms, whether we win or lose the match.
Well, congratulations on today's win, Spooks, and thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
Sarianne there, just roasting Spooks. Roasting Big Sammy.
I mean, there we have it. That's why Sin got the Rift Herald all 3 games.
Absolutely, because Chiefs are like, look, we don't need this.
We don't need it.
We can't take it.
Is it we don't need it or we don't want it?
Yeah, we don't want
it. That's the question.
It's just going to take far more Swiffer if we get it anyway.
It's a message to riders. Like, get this Herald out of the Summoners Rift. You know? I can't manage it.
But we also saw in that interview, Spook saying, look, we're trying to play with a more simple approach now compared with how they were playing maybe earlier in the split. So, you know, Tegan, having watched these guys all split, can you identify what you think is that simple approach they're looking towards now?
I mean, these few games, it felt like they were trying to play through bot lane and through scaling bot lanes, taking Ardent Censor a few games, taking Xayah Rakan, which is just a pretty simple lane to play. So maybe it comes down to, instead of trying early game aggression, just sort of things that pop up early game, they've moved towards scaling into the mid game and late game. Galio, another prime example of something that does really well late game. That's at least what I would look towards.
I mean, this is just like very natural League of Legends, right? You win, like you don't win the game in the first 20, or you win the game kind of in goal leading things, but you don't break their nexus.
Yes.
In like 10 minutes into the game, right?
No,
that just doesn't happen.
10 minutes
right?
into the game.
Yeah. So so they've drafted comps, you know, not perfectly again, but like they definitely directing towards that mid-late game plays. So like if we bring up the 2 replays, you'll see like their comp is just so straightforward. They will just go in and you know, get a team fight done. We win, then we do it. Well, we win, then we get objectives. We lose, we reset, rinse and repeat, right?
Yeah.
So you look at this fight, and like it's so simple. You've got Rakan ulting in, forces the flash from FBI very early on, and then he was like, nope, we're committing, we just go in. Nearly gets an ace, I believe.
Yeah.
And then they got an inhibitor off that, and then they just rinse and repeat. Later on in the top lane, the replay is going to follow.
So they recall at that point, but that's because they feel like if they keep chasing there and try and end the game, that's a risk for them they're not willing to take. So they just want to repeat this team fight, like you're saying.
Yeah, like there's no answer from Sin to this initiation. Like what can they do?
Yeah.
Honestly, like, you know, knockup is one of the most difficult to counter CZ in this game.
I say that as a Kalista main. I know exactly what you mean. Kalista on bot lane, most powerful bot lane in O's right now. Knockups for days, Tiga.
It's also, they just want to do the safe thing, which is go get Baron and reset. You can try to do the hyphy thing and finish there and might have a little bit of success, but every player knows base, get Baron. It's a little bit more boring, but it's just almost 100% confirmed that you're going to win the game if you take it the safe, standard, slow way.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, it wasn't a perfect game out of the Chiefs, and looking forward to how they have to play Legacy tomorrow. Legacy are going to be looking at weaknesses for them to exploit. So, T-Gun, I mean, let's talk about some of the things that Chiefs were potentially imperfect with
yeah,
this last
absolutely.
game.
I mean, the game didn't start there, right? It started with some great early aggression by Spooks, which turns into this, without a better word to describe it, absolute fiesta. Swiper gets minion blocked, gets out, comes back into the tower and dies to it. Spooks is now stuck between a Jarvan and a Camille, which not very fun. Takes a tower hit himself. Nope, sorry, two of them. And I'm going to be honest, when I was upstairs watching this, I was just thinking, it's happening. It's happening.
This is how it ends.
Sin are going to do it because of what Chiefs did. Because we normally expected Sin to play the early aggressive style, but Chiefs trying to bring it to them. And that was the point where I was like, oh, this is a bit sketchy. But it was also showing Chiefs, while we were saying they have a weak early game, can play the aggressive early game that they might need to do against Legacy tomorrow.
So 3-0 the result for today for Chiefs. And tomorrow they will go on to face Legacy. So looking at the drafts we saw today, a lot of priority put around getting Zyra Khan, banning out a lot of supports. Is that the same kind of meta we're going to see tomorrow versus Legacy, Tegan?
Absolutely. And one thing I want to say I'm pretty disappointed in is Chiefs first picked Rakan and Sin answered without taking Zyra. Now, FBI is a great Callista. Probably the best in Oceania, unlucky hingers. And I'm sure Vicarious might agree.
Brutal
but
roasting from me. All right.
My problem is, we said before the games even started today, when you take Rakan, you're kind of forcing the opponents into taking Xayah because it's such a strong lane and such a strong combination. And for Sin to just sort of drop the ball there, it was just a little weak from them.
So you think that Legacy potentially will put priority on, Draven like they did previously, or potentially, they're going to be taking the Callista, that Xayah as well.
I think they'd take the Xayah. Vicarious, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but
No, that was great. I think Chiefs was drafting very standard, I think. Whereas Sin, they were trying something kind of special. Maybe they know something from scrims or anything, because the TF ban may be necessary, maybe not. But like in Game 3, you see they switched out the Morgana ban into the Gragas ban. But when you look about the broad picture, right, you've got Callista open, you've got Rakan open, Xayah open, Cassiopeia, you've got Gragas if you don't ban it. So that, and then of course Maokai was not mentioned at all in this three games.
Very interesting. And we know that Legacy want to play Maokai as well, because they've wanted to play it in the past.
There's just so many champions that can be that is actually left open that it's kind of puzzling to see actually like Rakan and then just Callista, Cassio, and then giving the Rakan Xayah bot lane duo.
I will say the one thing I'm happy that we saw today is Ardent Sensor support's coming in. I know Ejim's been a big fan of it. If you follow his Twitter, he's maybe fan isn't even the right word because of how much he doesn't like it.
It's almost sarcastic,
but he understands how strong it is on both Lulu, Janna. Maybe that's why the Morgana is being banned, because you can build it on Morgana. You take Bond of Stone, and because Ardent Sensor procs off of Bond of Stone's healing, it can be used on pretty much everyone on your team when you hit a snare.
Well, does it have to be Morgana then? Because Morgana's Q is single target. And also your Dark Binding, like do you want, not your Dark Binding, your Dark Shield. Do you actually want to preemptively put it on one of your carries? And then, because what that means is your other carry is just going to get CC forever.
Well, that's why you go with Bond of Stone, because then whoever you bind, anyone that autos them gets the benefit of Ardent Sensor. So might be why Morgana was seeing bans today from Sin. Again, hard to get into their mindset. I respect Bensel a lot, and I know that he would have done some damn good research and obviously found something that I didn't. But just speculating, I'm going to assume that that might be why, Ejim was looking towards it.
But this does mean that Legacy have 3 VODs of Chiefs to review. So let's bring up the gauntlet, because we can talk through yesterday. Sin beat AV 3-2. Today, Chiefs were able to beat Sin 3-0, meaning that Legacy watch these games today before they face off against Chiefs tomorrow. And what that means is Legacy didn't see a lot out of Chiefs, because they weren't pushed to 5 games. They didn't have to show anything crazy. I think the TF ban is interesting. We'll see if Legacy continue that tomorrow. But it does mean that Legacy are probably going to have to play standard into this Chiefs standard comp.
And I mean, they're going to want to hide things as well, like both teams. But Legacy might want to try and come in just complete standard, so they can give away as little as possible to Direwolves.
Yeah.
I think that's the optimal way.
Yeah, well, you guys aren't going to be here tomorrow, unfortunately. Presumably, you're going to be flying to Vegas for this boxing match or whatever.
If only. If only.
So let me get your guys' quick predictions for tomorrow. I mean, Vicarious, you've seen Chiefs play. You've seen Legacy play this split. Who do you think is going to win tomorrow?
Chiefs is performing better than I expected. That's why I was saying 3-1 to Chiefs. And then they just 3-0'd.
Yeah.
I'm going to think that Chiefs will take Legacy, and they will go to the grand finals against Wolves.
I'm going to go with Legacy, with the caveat that whoever wins out of it, I'm going to pick them in the grand finals. But I've got to go with Legacy because Lost is always impressive, and in the combat between the perfect player and Lost, we're going to see the best ADC crowned, and I'm hoping that it's Lost.
Oh, well, be here tomorrow from 5 p.m. as Legacy take on Chiefs in our third round of the Gauntlet. I'd like to thank Vicarious and T-Gun for being here. I'd like to thank Spawn and Fish for doing our call, Sarah, and for doing our questions, everyone on the production team, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Good night!
And they take him down. The jungler is dead. Swiper comes in. Big Mega Nah. Big Shockwave. And one by one, Sin Gaming's carries are falling. Rima is in trouble. Rogue's forced to flash away. FBI goes down. And that's a big team fight from the Chiefs. It's massive stuns come through. The wombo combo for Sin is huge. Somehow FBI still staying in this fight. But look at Rima. Big whips us in. Big Nah. Boulders to the face. Slaps them down as well. Tommy's still fighting back. Egypt goes low. The grounder comes out. Massive shield from Egypt. Keeps Raze alive. Clutch plays from the Chiefs. And Raze and Egypt are left to go and take that Hibber. He's got on top of Dryoma. He just got a solo kill in his base. That should be game. Raze almost kills him inside the Fountain. He just stands in between the Nexus and Fountain. And with that, the Chiefs, they fight back hard and they take game 1 over Sin.
Counter push once again, Swiper. Oh!
Swiffer flashes forward, knock-up from Dokla, and the Lady of the Snakes are dead. Here comes Rima. Shurima shuffling in. But look at Quinny. Raze with a triple. He wants the Quadra. Gets it. Penta kill picked up for Raze.
He actually kills himself. He stands underneath the turret, but he's out of his chair. Quinn is absolutely popping off.
Dokla jumps in, pops his gargoyle, spooks and
goes FBI.
Big cataclysm coming out from Dokla. He will fall for that one though. Petrifying Gaze locks down both carries. Rima's in trouble. Rogue's jumping to his side. Juice is gonna fall down. The Nah backwards. The Emperor of Shurima has been taken down. And the Chiefs storm onto the ribs. 3 kills picked up against Sin. They're going for the Nexus. That second Nexus turret is gonna fall down. And with that, the Chiefs, 2 games in a row. They come back from an early game deficit. They take it to Sin. And they are now at match point.
And they're gonna fight.
Bryce Egypt Paul jumps in the backlines. Gets a nice knock up. Charms up 3. Keeps them held there for a while. He'll dive. But look at Raze. He gets 1 kill. The rest of Sin want to collapse, but they just can't. Gets Juice around the miasma for the triple charm and knockup. What the heck? Ben Rakan against this man. Great equalizer. Big talk coming out from Swiffer as well. 1 by 1, Sin are gonna fall, and that could potentially be game spawn. Ryma's gonna jump down as well. Dokla is trying to do something in the backlines. Swiffer somehow lives, gets a heal as well. 4 kills picked up by the Chiefs. Yeah, and here, look at Egypt go. Again, straight in the back lines. Everyone dies to this equalizer. And that's all over. With 3 members dead, Baron buff and minions in the base, Juice just dances.
Now, I mean, there's nothing else you can do. Raze is going to look for a cheeky kill, but it will be the Chiefs just picking up the Nexus turrets, and they're going to book El Clasico tomorrow with Legacy.
Chiefs versus Legacy coming up tomorrow. They've done it 3-0 for the Chiefs. They want to represent Oceania, and they're going to try and fight their way through the Gauntlet.